Yes, guys, how you doing? Welcome back to the Spurs Talk Show. How are you? Hope you're all happy and healthy, doing the things you love. Things still a little bit off with my setup this morning. I don't know why. How's things going? Sorry about my lateness is greatness thing. Hopefully later will be greater. I'm going to have to stick with whatever is going on here. It is what it is. Guys, what a day it's going to be today, eh? Roberto De Zerbi, it looks like he's about to be announced, although he was due to be announced yesterday. What is going on? Something doesn't feel right. Something never feels right. De Zerbi's apparently going to be announced very imminently. We're still waiting. Waiting around, hanging around. And we got to talk about it. We've also got to talk about Daniel Levy, who's suing the club or considering suing the club. It never rains, but it absolutely pours down at Tottenham Hotspur. There's always something to discuss. Daniel Levy, what's he got? Is he going to get his money out of Tottenham? What we're going to figure out that story. That's a Bloomberg article we've got to run through. We've also got shitloads of stuff to discuss via Twitter, and I've got lots of little clips from TalkSport takes. We've got certain fans with certain perspectives and big platforms making their case known, you know, feeling confident that their way of the world is the only world view that is acceptable. Of course, Twitter's not a place to be thinking that you're in an echo chamber. So you're always going to get pushback from people that feel a different way. And Roberto De Zerbi certainly does split attention, split feelings. All because he said, well, what did he say? He said, it saddens me what happened to Mason Greenwood, because I know a very different person, a good person, from the one portrayed in England. Is that it? Is that it? Is that all he said? Listen, I've been seeing WhatsApp groups this morning that I'm involved in, having arguments. The morality police are coming out, people on both sides, the woke side, the non-woke side. Everyone's got a take. Do you know what? Like, part of me feels like through all of this, it's distraction, it's noise, it's unwanted. I don't think it's fair either. I don't think it's fair on De Zerbi. I don't really think it's fair on the football club to have to deal with things that one manager said about his personal interactions with one particular person who is accused of, but not found guilty, at least in the eyes of the law, of any particular crime. And all of that stuff is going to be brought into to Tottenham Hotspur at a time when you need to have 100% of your attention and focus. This is presuming that he comes to the football club. That he has 100% of his focus, as do the players, on what is going on the pitch. Not stuff that didn't happen on the pitch when he was managing a former club. You know, I find it all very interesting. It's always something to talk about. For me, I'm increasingly on board De Zerbi. Like, there's plenty of reasons why I have concerns about Roberto De Zerbi. The fact that he's signing a 5-year deal. The fact that, you know, everyone that says, oh, if he does the Conte smoke grenade thing or throws a grenade in, don't worry. There'll be get out clauses. There'll be all sorts of protection limitations on the clause. It won't be like it was with Pochettino. Really? Do we honestly give Tottenham Hotspur the credit, even this version of Tottenham Hotspur, that is more of a shit show than the last version of Tottenham Hotspur that wasn't that different in terms of personnel to this current version? And even the former version, they weren't aware of what was in the certain contracts. They weren't even aware what was in the law with regards Matt Doherty and that loan deal. They weren't aware of what was in the contract with Alejo Veliz's move to back to the South America. Are we really that confident that there will be all sorts of perfectly buttoned up, T'd and I'd, dotted and crossed contract stipulations that if this thing goes wrong, that, which it will go wrong. The chances of Roberto De Zerbi still being here in 2031, I've got more chance of hair regrowing on my head than that particular thing being a thing that comes to maturity. It's not going to happen. So at some point he's out. We got the data on how long he spent at other clubs that he's been at. Doesn't look for pretty reading. But of all of the options, I didn't particularly like the idea of an interim, because I think interims have very little in the way of there's no motivation or incentive apart from getting their bonus. But with Roberto De Zerbi, you at least get the players to be able to sit there and say, well, look, if we stay up, big if we stay up, then he'll be the guy for us next year. If we don't stay up, he'll probably be gone. Again, that doesn't maybe shift the mindset of the players, because if the players are of the mindset that they think it will be easier for them to force a move out of the football club if we go down, and that is part of the problem within the energy of the football club, then that's a problem that Roberto De Zerbi or Harry Redknapp or anybody else can't fix. That's a problem that the players have to fix. And it's a problem that maybe the club can influence the abilities of the players in fixing by throwing a carrot that looks different to what they think, and by certainly offering the stick that looks different to what they expect. Been saying this for quite a while. You know, if it's true, it's a big if, a giant if it's true that the football club have contracts in place, contract stipulation clauses in place, that for the most part, Tottenham Hotspur football players that go down have a 50% wage reduction baked into their contract that is as standard, but for the most part, the players didn't expect it to ever become a reality. I'm sure you've all read, contracts. If you've all worked in a corporate environment, there'll be clauses in your contracts that are standardized that you look at and think, well, it's not going to affect me. Like if you when I worked in tech, ad tech, there was a clause that said any technology or innovation, any intellectual property that you design or that you create during your term of employment will be fully owned by the company that I was working for. Now, at the time, I didn't have any intention of designing an app or anything like that, so it was kind of irrelevant. Similar to if you I don't know, commit a crime and you get sacked, then there'll be a termination of your employment or whatever. Like, there's going to be clauses in everyone's contracts that you don't perceive to be relevant. And so maybe it's true that all of those players did have those contract clauses inserted as a nominal theme, but they didn't really pay too much attention to it because the idea of Tottenham being relegated was so far beyond the truth, or beyond the realms of possibility, at least until a couple of years ago. And so for me, one of the options, if there is a concern around whether or not the players feel like they want out of the football club and therefore downing tools, going down, is a mechanism to increase that likelihood, it makes the whole thing easier, then one of the solutions to be able to nip that in the bud, is to offer the stick to Tottenham Hotspur players by the club and say, look, all of you are on wages that we can afford to run if we go down, especially at 50% of the price. So you've got us into this mess to some degree. It's up to you to get us out of it. If we go down, none of you are leaving. Whether or not they are going to actually sort of fulfill that threat, it's at least a promise or a threat that isn't empty. And you can say, and if you stay up, if you get us to stay up and you want out, then we will engage with parties that might want you in that world. So the stick is, you're not leaving. If you think you're leaving when we get relegated, well, guess what? You're not. And if you really want to leave, the best way for that to happen for you is to keep us up. A little bit of carrot, a little bit of stick. At the same time, you have someone like Roberto De Zerbi coming in for those people that are motivated to the cause, those people that do want to stay, do want to fight, do want to forge a new relationship and get something going. Well, they're going to look at someone like Roberto De Zerbi, and again, mixed opinions about him. I've got some quotes to show you in a little while. Mixed opinions from players that have played under him. One of them saying the first 2 weeks were completely baffling, like nutcase stuff. And then another guy saying, I fell in love within a week. It was amazing. To each their own. But with Roberto De Zerbi, you have a manager that, for me, should tick all the boxes in terms of how Tottenham fans want their team to play. There is balance and grit and structure to the defense, but there is an element of tiki-taka. There's an element of patterns of play and triangle designs of football that is at times, when implemented correctly, unplayable. It's exciting, it's fast, it's ferocious, it's everything that most Tottenham fans want to see. And it comes with a level of, I don't know, slightly more design to it than Ange Postecoglou. Certainly a lot more structure than what Ange Postecoglou used to say. But with just as much ability to create that kind of flow, but also a little bit more consideration of who you're playing, how you're playing, the state of the game. You know, a little bit more of the SWOT analysis and certainly more attention to detail defensively as well than what Ange Postecoglou offered. So on paper, I really like the idea of De Zerbi as a future Tottenham manager. Did I think it was the right guy to bring in now? No, I didn't initially, because I feel like his system is going to take a while to bed in, right? And we don't have time on the training ground right now to be able to execute particularly complex styles of play. We don't have that because we've got 7 games left. It doesn't mean that we're going to go down. It doesn't mean we're going to stay up, but that is an issue. But if we do stay up and he stays around, and then in the summer, the promises that he's allegedly been made around control over the transfer strategy and having the resources to go at it, if those things are true, and God knows we've all been lied to about that stuff to some degree for many, many a year, then we will hopefully be able to recultivate and recraft our squad in a vision that looks a little bit more similar to what is necessary and needed for his sort of play. But my big hang up is, how much time does he have to get his style on board? And who is it exactly in this team and this squad right now that fits exactly what it is that he would like to see, even in a world where he can disseminate his style of play immediately? I also like, if I'm going through the pros and cons, and I hope you can pick me up, I hope you can follow me here, by the way, I'm going to come and say hello to everybody in a second. I also like the fact that having a particular permanent manager, like I say, gives someone, like, the idea of an impermanent loss is, for me, something that is not going to work with these types of players. Having someone that is here for, in an ideal world, for the present and the future, and is someone that I think comes with the respect of most players that have been around the block a little bit. Everyone knows who De Zerbi is. Everybody knows where they stand with him. You know, are there going to be eruptions? Are there going to be outbursts? Are there going to be people that are not going to like his style? For sure. There's a couple of players that I can think of right now that might button their lip and get on with it, get down, pull up their socks and get down to work. There might be a couple of people that just don't have that style of personality and that they aren't going to appreciate him. So there's going to be these little mini factions, and there's always going to be something to talk about. So on a selfish note, I'm excited if this thing happens. I am excited. But like I say, for every yes, for every pro, there is a con. We're going to talk about more of them in more detail. Plus, I want to show you a load of this stuff. There's 700 people in the house, guys. Don't forget to smash the like button. Don't forget to smash the subscribe. Smash like, subscribe. Bell button should be squeezed. Hype the video. Hype it, baby. If you're on mobile. And comment section should be filled with mixed analysis. We don't cultivate echo chambers here, as you know. Very few people on this channel. I haven't actually checked the block list. I don't know. I was told the other day by someone that they'd been blocked. And they shouldn't have been blocked by someone. So I don't know if the mods on my channel, the relative recent mods, are blocking people. I might have to go back and check. But I'm pretty sure there's only about 40 or 50 people that have ever been blocked on this channel. And the vast majority of them are people that are spammers, like the TikTok live stream stuff or whatever else, or people that come in with political statements and all that shit. So, yeah. Embrace the chat. Embrace the chat. But we've got to talk about Daniel Levy as well, because that's another spanner in the fucking works. And if he does decide to sue the football club, well, how much money is that going to cost in litigation fees? I mean, lawyers aren't cheap. Also, what's the outcome? What is the intended outcome? Where would the money come from to pay off any settlement? Would that lower his asking price, the club's asking price, the share? I mean, it's very, very opaque in its instance, but we'll take a look at it. Let me quickly say hello to some people. Got some super chats lined up, and I want to do the say hello to the members first. Big up to the members. Big up to Robbie Plan. Big up to you, mate. Afternoon. How are you? Good to see you. Where is your podcast? Where is your podcast? Yeah, sorry for being late. Big up to everyone who was the other members. Will THFC says length of the contract is not irrelevant when considering the payout cost. Managers are not assets. It can't be amortized. Is that right? Is that true, Will? I'm pretty sure it can. I'm pretty sure it is amortized. Managers' fees and coaches' fees come onto the PSR qualification. So I'm pretty sure it is considered an asset. I'd be surprised if that's not the case. But if you're saying it with the level of confidence that you are, with triple dots at the end, anyone that finishes a fairly long sentence with 3 dots, they're saying that with a level of confidence. I'm pretty sure that certainly squad cost ratio rules include the management. But I might be wrong. Big up to you. Big up to Futures Bright, the moderator in chief. Big up to I'm a Cupid Stunt. Fuck's sake, Butler, you start your shows 15 minutes later at this point. No, I was just trying to get my setup. I'm normally not that bad. I'm normally like 5 minutes late. Some people fucking leave their people waiting like 45 minutes. You know? I'm not going to call anybody out, but there's some channels that set a show for like, I don't know, 6 p.m. and they don't get going until nearer 7 p.m. I mean, talk about disregard for the time, for the respect of the people's time that are watching. Well, that's not this guy. But there's piss taken and there's piss take. Talking of bloody piss takers, look at we got in the chat. Hello, Hugo. How are you?
Hello, mate.
Hello. How are you, buddy? Good to see you.
Yeah, not too shabby. What's cooking?
Oh, I've just gone through my opening monologue for 15 minutes.
Nice. You finished off your danger then?
Finished off my danger. Oh, my danger wank. Yeah, guys in the chat, I summarised where I'm at, right, with De Zerbi. You know, I haven't actually finished it off because there's lots of like pros and cons we haven't really spoken about, which we'll get into. But day before yesterday, when this was sort of announced that it might be happening, I was like, oh God, really? Fucking hell. And I felt like I was a bit of a eunuch, right? There was no sexual appetite for this one at all. And then over the last sort of 24, 48 hours, I've got to be honest, I've gone through various stages like a butterfly, right? I'm not quite at full butterfly mode yet. I'm probably still at the mollusk stage or whatever it is. But
cocoon, you're cocooned.
I'm in the cocoon at the moment. Hand around my my member. Nice. Warming myself up for a danger wank, you know, because he is a danger sort of manager. You know, he's a danger sort of manager.
You know what's going to happen, don't you? There's going to be like the wokies are going to get through to him, you know, to the club, and we're going to end up with Ben Davis, aren't we? That's what's going to happen.
Well, listen, that's a really interesting point. That's a really interesting point. We have got to talk about that because I do think that the selective outrage of Tottenham fans, or certain Tottenham fans, certain people. It's not just Tottenham fans, by the way. I see people on TalkSport. I see this female journalist, sports journalist, saying her piece, quoting female footballers from the female league, of which about 85% are lesbian, right, or 70% are lesbian, or something, right? Some crazy statistic. So if she's representing the female voice of the female league, then I get it. I'm not saying anyone's got an opinion. All opinions are kind of are valid on this one. But you seem to be hearing a lot, like the kind of vocalized media opportunity knocks stuff is pushing the reason why it's outrageous. And the only people that are pushing back are, I would say, the majority of Tottenham fans that are in the comment section that may or may not want De Zerbi. But the reason, if they don't want him, it's not because of the non-footballing reasons. I think there's an element of people that don't want him for those reasons.
Do you remember when at one stage we were close to getting in Gattuso?
Yeah, and the club listened to that stuff as well, right?
That's right.
You know, again, I don't have an opinion on Gattuso. It was shut down so quickly that I didn't really bother to take a look into his credentials, right? But sorry, as far as I can tell, I've asked, what did he say? And the thing is, in November 2025, De Zerbi described Greenwood as a, quote, good person and added, it saddens me what happened to him because I know a very different person from the one portrayed in England. That's not the same. If that's the extent of the quote, if that's the extent of it, then I have absolutely no problem with that, because I am not someone that, like, I'm someone that will judge you, Hugo, based on how I interact with you.
Yep.
Right. I'm not someone that's going to listen to rumors about you or hearsay. Right. Judge people as you find them, not as people tell you to find them. If you just take people on their, if you listen to other people's opinions about someone, then you're a fucking idiot.
Yeah. If you take,
and I don't want to know your opinion on anything.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. No, I mean, it's like, mate, as far as I'm concerned, more than anything else, you know, having just, you know, heard that quote, it sounds more like he was, you know, minimizing, you know, minimizing the potential for anyone to ask, you know, like further questions on it. He was just sort of like, do you know what? Like, my experience with the guy is he's a nice guy. It's obviously a shame what happened before, but, you know, like, here we are now. That kind of vibe, right? That's to me, you know, where it's at. And, you know, if whatever happened did happen, no one, you know, can condone it. But the one person whom one would think to whom it matters most is not only with him, but now has kids with him. So, you know, to that extent, you know, one has to, I think, just, you know, but what I don't get is that, you know, like, Greenwood is not De Zerbi.
100%.
Like, if it were Mason Greenwood coming in, you know, on the coaching staff, for argument's sake, I could, you know, fully understand people's outrage, right? But otherwise,
I could also fully understand people who say, like, he's a fucking great footballer, and I care. Like, again, it's selective fucking outrage. I've seen the list of people saying that no one cared about Paul Gascoigne when his behaviour was inappropriate with his wife.
Mate,
no one cared about
wokeism. Didn't exist back then. I mean,
no,
you look at Georgie Best, mate.
Yeah.
You know, who was like, just, you know, he was renowned as, like, you know, womanizer, booze hound, you know, everything, right? I mean, he used to, what was it, the rat and parrot that he used to post up at in Chelsea, right? Like, for years, but it was before wokeism. And so, you know, again, it's a different, you know, different time. Like,
different set of rules, right? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly so. And it doesn't mean that it's any more right or any more wrong. It just means that those were the norms of the time, right?
Oh, yeah, listen, if we all think that we're perfect now with our levels of selective outrage, whoever, I'm not speaking on either side, right? Everyone's got their opinions. Everyone's divided. Everyone's got a platform on Twitter. Everyone becomes like a nasty
keyboard warrior. Yeah.
But who's to say that in 30 years' time or 40 years' time, the generations around then are not going to look back on us and have their opinion on the way that we behave now, with regards whether we're not woke enough or that we were too woke or whatever else, right? There's going to be people in 40 years' time. There'll be a whole new era, a whole new set of standards. To hold people to certain sets of standards today that weren't necessarily in place back then. I'm not saying that behavior in the past was right or wrong. It's just a different time. But at the same time, if we're going to have a problem with a manager who's essentially backing his player and saying, you know what, the kid that I've seen is a good guy. He works hard, and, you know, obviously he's getting a hard time for what in England. I don't have any problem with what, if that is the extent of it. If there's, I can't find anything else. Correct me if I'm wrong, chat. If there's more outrageous or egregious commentary where De Zerbi says, I think what he did was absolutely fine and appropriate or something like that, then I've got a problem with it. I've got a massive problem with it, right? But as for all I can see, he's just backing his player and saying the person that I've met seems like a good kid, a good person.
Yeah, I agree with that. That would be my assessment, is that he was trying to shut down, you know, what someone was trying to make out to be, you know, something. And he was just like, do you know what? Like, my experience.
Probably caught between a rock and a hard place, Hugo, as well.
He's
right?
like, he's one player of my squad. My experience is he's a good kid, and it's regrettable what happened before. Done.
100%. Just like, and journalists are paid a lot of money, or paid relative money, to invoke and put the interviewer in difficult circumstances. De Zerbi will have in the first press conference that one of the first questions is not going to be, how are you going to keep Tottenham up? What are you going to do with it? Is it 4-4-2? Is it 4-2-3-1? one of the very first questions from TalkSport or from Sky or from whoever is going to be, explain yourself, you bad human being for backing your player. And this is what journalists do. It's what journalists do, right? So I've got no time for no time.
Yeah, and that means that would be the situation no matter which club you went to, right?
100%. And again, if Mason Greenwood was the object of this conversation and not De Zerbi, then I would be. Again, I'm not saying anyone is wrong to.
Yeah, but it would have more more merit. It would have more gravitas to it.
100%, 100%. But at the same time, there will be an element of people, I would guess on that one, it would be more like 65 or 70 or 80-20 in favor of not signing him. But there'll be an element of the fan base that will say, look, he's with the woman. They've got a family. He wasn't found guilty of any crime. And he's a fucking good footballer. And Tottenham could do with some decent footballers. And again, if we're going to micro-analyze and psychoanalyze every single decision that anybody has ever made, right or wrong, then we should also be doing that with the owners of the football club, right? And the people that are in charge there. Did the LGBTQ community have a problem with Vinay coming in when he stood by
with Party and
Thomas Partey, right?
Yeah.
What about Joe Lewis and the Lewis family? All that money they've made out of Patagonia. Mm-hmm. Like, if you haven't looked into Patagonia, go and look into Patagonia. Right? Does Pep Guardiola get challenged every day by Sky journalists about whether or not Abu Dhabi's track record for decency and our standard of culture, what we deem to be appropriate?
Well, you'll remember
the same with Newcastle.
Bissouma was under investigation when we signed him from Brighton.
Right.
I don't seem to remember that was like the end of days at that time.
I don't know. I just think, for me personally, I'd rather just go put all that stuff to one side. Do you want De Zerbi do you rate him as a manager? Is he the guy that gets us out of this situation? And is he the guy that you could build a team around and hopefully get us back to some level of stability and some level of security and some level of progress back in the league? And if he can find a way to get 3 wins out of 7 games, then I think he stays. I think he's here. I think we stay up. And then big if, Hugo, the owners of the football club that have clearly promised him all the gold that he wants in whatever form and fashion in terms of control and financing and spending and all that stuff in the summer, then again, if you have a decent DOF, or if he at least has the ability...
Well, I was going to say, that's the big if, right? If you've still got the Danish pastry in place, who's got all of the charm of a used kipper, like at the end of the day, you can want a whole range of different players, mate. But if you've got, him, Mr. Charisma, going in to go and sell you on the De Zerbi project, you'd sooner slit your wrists, wouldn't you?
Yeah. 9 points. No, 100%. I don't want Lang at this football club. I don't. But I would love it if we were to announce in the next, say, week and a half, right before the Sunderland game,
that he's been jogged on.
That he's been jogged on, and someone like, I don't know, a Paul Mitchell's come in, or whoever De Zerbi rates, whoever De Zerbi fancies as a DOF. If you're really going to back this guy, if it really is true, you bring in a DOF that has some gravitas, some bloody gumption, then all of a sudden, for me, like the lift and the energy around the football club will be better. And if De Zerbi can find the right words in the right order, and there's a giant fucking if about that, because, like I say, on the pro and con list, well, I've already outlaid half of, and there's more to go through. I want to chew them over with you as well. I'm not even including all of the Mason Greenwood bollocks. Like, forget all that crap. Just on his merits as a manager, it's still a big if, because I think that he's someone that needs time to implement his strategy, and he doesn't have it. And he might also piss some people off in the dissemination of what he wants out of people. And these footballers, for me, seem to be a little bit, I don't know, prissy, a little bit
prima donna.
Exactly, that's it, mate.
Yeah. No, I mean, they certainly, all I'm looking for is, if he can build a kind of siege mentality and build some sort of resilience, out of this team, and start to just let them play, without the sort of, well, first of all, let's put the players in the right positions for a start. Would be nice. As there are going to be hopefully more fit footballers coming back in, let's hope that we can, upgrade the starting 11, and just a sense of like playing just with less with less inhibition, I guess. Like handbrake off would be nice.
Yeah.
Just a bit more kind of, I don't know, just a bit more just kind of desire to put the ball in the net, focus on doing that rather than how not to concede.
Do you have any, actually, let me press pause. There's some super chats here. There's 1,000 people in the house, guys. Unbelievable stuff for lunchtime show. Appreciate everyone. Sorry I wasn't around yesterday. I had, because of certain political things that are going on around the world, as you know, I run a few people's pensions and stuff. So I had to spend yesterday reorganizing a certain risk-off model, because I believe that there is the mother of all fuck-ups coming with regards the price of food, oil, inflation, etc., interest rates going up over the next 6 months to a year. I personally believe, unless this thing gets sorted out very quickly, that we are in for a global recession of epic fucking proportions. And it all could have been fucking avoided if it wasn't for donuts at the top making donut decisions that don't contemplate the consequences of their actions. And that is a little bit true to Tottenham Hotspur, a little bit, isn't it? As I've always said to you, the people that are in the positions of power are not more intelligent than you. They're not better than you. They are just capable of making decisions that they don't care about you when it comes to them considering.
Well, that's assuming, of course, that they were entirely autonomous in getting to the place where they're at, and that they 100%. Don't have it, and that they don't have any IOUs. So
Oh, we know that. We know that for sure. We know that for sure.
So let's not pretend that there's any sort of corporate agendas that are being exercised.
Of course, yeah. Politics is definitely not a meritocracy, 100%. But listen, enough about that. I just want to apologise for my absence yesterday. I would have loved to have been chin-wagging with you all about De Zerbi. This club. But had to do other things. So Kate and Jimbo, big up to you, Kate. She says, I'm not woke, racist, or sexist. I hate everyone equally. I'm exactly the same. I'm exactly the fucking same. I have an absolute level of derision, a level of hatred for my own government as much as any other government. And it doesn't make me any particular thing. I'm not anti-English because I hate the people that make my decisions. And it was exactly the same when there was a Conservative is in charge, and it will be exactly the same whoever's in charge next. Same in America, same in the Middle East, same in Australia. Politicians, I can't stand them. Can't stand them all. So if ever I'm saying things that one or two of you might find offensive, first of all, I'm someone that likes to push the line, push the threshold of what isn't appropriate. Sometimes I will overstep the line. That's what we do here. But I will never apologize unless I've really fucked up. And either way, you haven't got to like it. You haven't got to appreciate it. Just don't watch if it's not for you. But yeah, we're non-woke on this channel, Hugo. We're non-woke, mate. You know that.
Yeah. No, I mean, my sentiments on the whole freaking wokeism thing.
When I say woke, I don't just mean left versus right. I don't mean I'm a right wing. I'm intolerant of anybody else's intolerance of things that they don't like to hear.
It's what it is for me is it's the virtue signaling thing that that if push actually came to shove, they'd fold up quicker than a used deck chair.
Yeah, of course.
That's the point.
Of course. Apparently it's about to be announced. It's about to be announced. Well, this will be 2 days on the bounce, or two shows on the bounce when we get a live bomber, if that happens. So,
well, you're welcome, mate. I've been on both, I think. Right?
I appreciate that, mate. I appreciate that. But right. I didn't. I was so busy on what day was it? Sunday. I did 5 hours with you lot, and then I had to go out and then did another show in the evening. I didn't get a chance to reach out to everybody that was a part of that 5-hour marathon, because usually I'm like straight away, thanks for coming on, great show. But that's like an hour and a half show. 5.5 hours of someone's time. I really should send them a bunch of fucking flowers for their effort, So I forgot to say thank you to everyone that came on that day. To Drewski, to Kate, to Jimbo, to you, to everybody, to Rain, to everyone that came on. Big up to Anthony Murphy over in Australia. Big up to you, my man. Must be late where you are, midnight or something. Thank you very much for the super sticker. You started the super sticker train, and with that, you get the super sticker. Choo-choo.
Hang on, interesting point here in the chat is respect all opinions. I'm like, no, hang on a second. Respect is earned, not given.
Yeah,
That's all I'm saying. Like, if someone, I'm happy to listen to a whole range of opinions, right? I will listen to all opinions, and there's loads of different things from any which way, which I'm happy to listen to. But like, ultimately, just because something says something doesn't mean that I'm just going to respect it.
Yeah, it's
that's all.
Listen, for me, all opinions are. I'm someone that like I have to go out of my way to like seek my news. I saw this Prime Minister's not PMQs. It was Newsnight, I think it was, and on the BBC, and this guy was saying, do you know that 66% of the generation beneath us, or is it Gen X or whatever it is, that they get all of their news from TikTok, and TikTok is obviously, the algorithm, the UK algorithm for TikTok is augmented by the Chinese Communist Party. And he says, so the guy's point was like, would you be okay if the Telegraph or ITV News or the BBC was that they were edited by the Chinese Communist Party, which is a great point. Of course you wouldn't. But at the same time, it's not like those people don't edit their own shows with their own particular agendas and narratives as well. So for me, the answer is always more information. Seek out more sources. Go to TikTok, but then don't just trust what you see there. Do it on Instagram. Do it on Facebook. Do it on Google. Do it on Sky News. Do it on ITV. Do it on Fox.
Yeah,
go to CNN. Seek everything out.
It's called critical thinking. Take lots of different information and then arrive at your own conclusion.
Yeah, exactly. And just know that everything that you're hearing, as I always say to the chat, always challenge the motivations of the messenger. There's always going to be an angle. Everyone has an angle at all times. So, yeah, like I say, all opinions are encouraged, but not all opinions for me are.
Yeah, just because someone has an opinion doesn't mean that I need to respect it.
No, exactly.
I'm happy to sit here and listen to it and to interpret it and to whatever. But the conclusion I arrive at, would need lots of different information, looking at it from different perspectives. That's how I look at it.
See, I actually think that as much as I think that the tech algorithms are disgusting, what they do, at the same time that they at least know that they curate their algorithm. Like if you lean a certain way, they're going to show you things that are going to make you that you're going to agree with, but they also show you things that really rile you up that you disagree with. Because that's another way to keep you engaged on their platforms.
Yeah.
But at least in those algorithms, you're seeing two sides. You're seeing information that you don't agree with and information that you do. If you happen to just only ever watch, or seek out information that supports your narrative, that's how echo chambers exist. And that is really where, if you curate your news feed to make sure that it only ever supports you, so that you're not offended, and you just double down into your own obnoxiousness.
But that's the same with like when people are assessing De Zerbi, right? All we see, are the things that get reported, which are typically like the outbursts, which are, this and that and whatever, right? The flip side of that coin is we haven't yet had anyone report like inside, the changing room as to, what's the good stuff he does? How does he get his players to play?
Yeah,
like the good stuff about how he's generally regarded as a pretty good up and coming manager. Like, let's have an insight into that, please.
Yeah,
rather than it just being the condemnation, can we actually like get a flip side of the coin? I think there was someone in the chat that wrote something about what Lewis Dunk said something about him somewhere.
Yeah, I've got that. I've got some clips. I've got some tweets. I want to show that in a second. Let me just quickly do these super chats and then we'll get into it, mate. Big up to Anthony Murphy. Big up to you, mate. Appreciate you, buddy. Super chat out of Australia. Big up to you, Chudini. Always here, always supporting, mate. I told you, Chew. Listen. At some point, mate, save up the pennies and take your wife somewhere nicer than Nando's, okay? Because she must get really pissed off with the fact that it's Nando's time again. When you're dropping as much daily support on all the channels that you support, buddy. I love you and appreciate you, mate. I'm looking forward to hopefully meeting you in the 8 bar again on Saturday week, is it, against Brighton? That'll be an interesting one. I'll be there for that one. Big up to you, Choo Choo. A user says, my man Daniel Levy, he ain't leaving without a bang. Listen, you know I support you on the Levy stance, A user. You know I support you, mate. But on this one, I think it's, well, we're going to talk about it when we get to it. But I do think it's more drama, more headache, more distraction, and probably more problems than it serves. Like, can't that shit wait a little while? I don't know. Let's get to that in a minute though. Big up to you, A user. Thank you very much indeed. Sean Hurl says, already waiting for the main man for the main man in L1.
What do you mean, a championship?
Oh, already waiting for the man after the man in League One. Oh, okay, in League One. Fucking hell.
2 leagues down going.
Sean Hell's predicting a double relegation. It might happen. It could happen. You know, it's happening to Leicester. I don't think it will happen, but it could happen. It's happening. It looks like it might happen to Leicester. That's why, and like I say, you know, I respect Stell's opinion. I said this the other night about Stell. I genuinely think that with Stell, right, he's someone that's like a one-man soldier on his opinions, and I respect it, right? I respect people that fight their own fight and that fly their own flag. But I think he's someone that like magnets, you know, like magnets, like you can, if you suck people over to your way, and then all of a sudden you flip the coin,
flip the polarity.
As the other coin comes, as the other thing comes towards you, it pushes you further away. I think that Stell needs to feel like he's unique, or like as more people come towards that ENIC outside, he doesn't want to be confused as being part of the crowd. He needs to always be...
he's definitely special.
I'm not. Oh, no, none of that. No, I'm not calling him out that. I'm just saying, I actually respect it. I respect people that have their own opinions, and he's been very, very strong and forthright in his time.
No, I mean, he's been resolute about his position on it.
100%. Now, I don't agree with him. I don't agree with him that he's always been right, because I've always said, if it's nighttime at noon and you're saying it's nighttime at noon, it isn't. If you wait long enough, it will end up being nighttime, and then you say, "See, I told you so all along." That doesn't mean that you were right when it was daylight, right? But I respect the fact that he stands true and he doesn't flip-flop on his opinions. But where I actually think is that if more people come over this way, I think he will get slightly more extreme with his views, because he needs to feel like he's an outlier within.
Hang on a second. Movement. So if he's going to get more extreme, what does that look like?
Well, I think relegation is an example of it.
Well, no, but like that's already his stance. So
it is now, but it wasn't before, right? It wasn't before. Yeah. Before it was just like, you know, the club that we should all be ENIC out. But as people start to come across to ENIC out, he needs to move more to, well, now relegation is the right thing for the football club. I mean, the logic doesn't logic for me on it, but it's his stance, and it's like like I say, to each their own. But I think that's an example of what I mean, is that as people move towards his side, he doesn't want to like confused with the crowd on that stuff. Is how I perceive it, but I could be wrong. But that's just my stance on it. Big up to MC Noodles. MC Noodles. That's my other man. That's my moderator who's changed his name. What the fuck was your name before? I can't remember what your name was before. We'll come back to me in a second. Big up to you, mate. How are you, bro? I know I recognise the picture, but I know you're my man. You're my man who's always out getting vodka and stuff like me. I love it. My mind's gone blank on your name. Big up to you, mate. Missed you as well. A user says, look at it. It's a £60 million bet not to lose 300. Yeah. But it's a fucking expense. It's a high risk strategy. But I don't know what other strategy there was to come to. Well, again, I'll let you guys take on this in just a second. Big up to you, my man. Big up to you. Mark Lambert says he's putting a super sticker. Big up to you, Marky. Appreciate you, mate. Very generous from in Australia as well. Hope you're okay, bro. Hope you're not up late doing things that you shouldn't be doing. Maybe you are. Maybe you're enjoying yourself. Maybe you're in bed watching. If so, is it a danger wank time? John Turney, big up to you, Johnny boy. Out in Japan, my man. Johnny's out there now. You going to meet up with Johnny? I think Johnny's currently go-karting around Tokyo or something with a mushroom hat on.
He's not, mate. He's blowing up WhatsApp is what he's doing.
Johnny?
Yeah.
What's he up to on WhatsApp?
He comes in, mate, drops a bomber, and then fucks off again.
Mr. 37% win percentage. So he's not on board. He's not on board, is he? Okay. Listen, 37% win percentage will do for me right now. And you got to bake in mind the clubs that he's doing that for, right? He's not doing that at United or Arsenal. He's doing that at Brighton.
And soon to be doing it at Tottenham Hotspur. So, you know.
I'll take 37%. That'll get us out of the league. 9 points. Big up to you.
No, we don't want out the league. We want to stay in the league.
Sorry, out of trouble in the league. Yeah, out of trouble. Big up to Blaine. Wow, fucking hell, Blaine. Jesus Christ, mate. Super generous, mate. Super generous. Thank you so much, mate. He says, after our lovers call the other night, Shawnee, here's a few magnums on me. Ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta. Mate, I barely remember the conversation. I was long of about 400 magnums, mate. I was lying in bed. It was always great to speak to you, though, Blaine. And congratulations as always being you, my man. You successful little shit, Oh, I know what it was. Can I share it, Blaine? Can I share the news? I don't want to. No, you know what? Let me know in the chat, Blaine, if I can share the news, mate. Because if I can share that news, I mean, look, you might get people putting their hand, like begging you for handouts or something. But unbelievable, mate. Unbelievable. Fortune favors the brave. The luck of the Irish and all that jazz, mate. You absolutely smashed it. Congratulations. And thank you so much for a super generous chat. Blaine, you don't have to do that, mate. You don't have to do that. But congratulations again, mate. Unbelievable stuff. Let me know if I can share the news in the chat. Rain, come on, you Spur. Rain, be up to Rain. He says, what we all want to know, where's Hugo's AI face?
The world ain't ready.
I'll do it. I'm going to do it. Bloody easy. It'd be so easy. I could do it right now. I could have it ready in 5 minutes of Jimbo. Absolutely. Danish bloody pastry to Cornish bloody pasty. Big up to you, Rain. Luke Wardle says, have you seen the financials have been published? I haven't looked at them yet. When were they published? I'll bring them up if they...
Connor's laminating a copy as we speak.
He's having a furious wank over them, isn't he? He's angry, but it's enjoyable.
Look at these figures.
Big up to you, Lukey. Thank you very much indeed. And then we've got my man from Woking says, my Defoe, my Woking. Big up to you, Mr. Woking, mate. I hope you're okay, bro. Jermaine Defoe. Hey, listen, Jermaine, what a player he was. What a fantastic coach he's going to be. Absolutely terrific. DJ Gregor. Thank you very much for the message in Instagram the other day, mate. Appreciate you. Big up, Shawnee boy. De Zerbi inbound. Sounds like it. Sounds like it's about to be announced very, very soon. Big up to you, buddy.
What you should do,
Matt Cox. That's it, Matt Cox.
Yeah, you should come on as De Zerbi and announce yourself. Really.
Hey, I could do that. Hey, I'm just finishing up some paperwork. It'll be announced very soon. Big up to you, Matt. Big up to you, mate. I forgot. Yeah, Matt MC. There, it makes sense now. Makes sense. As long as Jermaine avoids the Pizza Express in Woking. There's no Pizza Express in Woking anymore. They also shut down Cafe Rouge, which for those of you that are familiar with Cafe Rouge, I mean, it is outrageous. They make the best chicken baguette and they have the greatest French fries, a baguette au poulet and chips at the Cafe Rouge. Their mayonnaise sauce was absolutely ta-ta-ta-ta.
Apparently.
Yeah, apparently, yeah, allegedly. In our latest published accounts today, says Saeed. It says fans are the lifeblood of our club and are always foremost in our decision making. I'll get the accounts up later on. Big up to you, mate. Thank you very much indeed for that as well. Appreciate all of the super chats. Oh, there you go. He's announced it. Super Spurs Blaine. He spent 50 quid on some raffle tickets. I think it was 50 quid, he said. And he's won 250 fucking grand.
That'll do.
That'll fucking do, pig. That'll do.
You have to pay tax on it, though.
No, I don't think so. Not in the UK.
Over here, mate, you win the lottery. Like half of it goes to the IRS.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. I'm pretty sure. I always thought about this, right? Could you not start a business in the UK where you employ people for free, right? They're all volunteers, but every month, everybody that's an employee gets a raffle ticket, and everyone that wins a raffle ticket gets paid the equivalent of their wage as a payout, and therefore they get that money tax free, and you don't have to pay national insurance and workers' comp and all that stuff.
Yeah, there's going to be someone that's gonna, someone going to sue you for something, aren't they? Guaranteed.
You can't do that now, Shawnee. Employee Rights Act has killed that. Was that a solution before? Did someone do that before? I was always like, well, if just pay me in lottery tickets that I know I'm going to win, and I don't have to pay income tax. Rat-a-ta-ta. Either way, big up to you, Blaine. Big up to you, my man. Big up to you, buddy. Congratulations. I'm guessing Sean's tracksuit is either a late 80s or early 90s retro. I think it was the 94 team. I think it was the 94 team. My man, I think it was 94. Right, let me show you some stuff here, Hugo. Let me show you some bits and pieces.
All right, let's have it.
Don't forget to smash like and subscribe. Let's start with this, with the De Zerbi stuff. There's a few different takes on it.
What do you...
This third here.
Oh, no, mate, I've seen that. Ugh.
This is Chris Powers, spoke brilliantly to Max Rushton. Let's have a little listen to what she's got to say.
As a Premier League club, what do you want your message to be? Being a football club is more than what just goes on the pitch. You represent a community, you represent its values. And as much as football managers have a lot of media obligations, a lot of comments, etc., in this day and age, and lots of commitments, you didn't have to speak about Mason Greenwood in that way, knowing the context, knowing that it's a topic that, you know, it's quite triggering for some people. And I know that Tottenham are desperate to stay in the Premier League, but I think that they should hold themselves to higher standards than De Zerbi. And also, I don't know if I'm convinced that he's really that good as a manager. Failed at Marseille, so all that Mason Greenwood love was a waste of time for him. And Brighton haven't really got massively worse since he left long term. I just think that if Spurs want to be winning trophies and challenging for Europe again, I think that they should be aiming higher than Marseille's sloppy seconds. I'm just not convinced as a Premier League club.
Mate,
what...
How can she, first of all, how can she say the phrase sloppy seconds when it comes to an opinion about a manager who spoke about a man who's alleged to have done things where sloppy seconds would be an appropriate use of... What are we doing here? What are we doing here? Second of all, he didn't fail at Marseille. He outperformed massively relative to Marseille's expectations. Thirdly, she says that he's not a very good manager. She also said that Unai Emery isn't very good either. I mean, how is her opinion relevant or necessary or needed? On what? But listen, again, everyone's opinion is valid, all that bollocks. But like, come on, what are we doing here, Hugo? What are we doing here?
I mean, you know, like Højbjerg that played for us, you know, he's at Marseille. Was he an accomplice because he was in the squad?
Exactly.
I
Exactly
mean,
that. So you're not only
like,
guilty
you know,
by
it's like-
association now, you're guilty for just
Yeah.
being employed by a club, by a company.
That's right. What I mean, you know, like he might have identified Greenwood, but he's not the one that like signed Mason Greenwood, is he? He's not the one that put his hand in his pocket. Yeah. Like he's you know, and he's an employee. He probably also like is the trend nowadays. Knew that, you know, within 2 years he'd probably be gone anyway. So he just probably wanted to, you know, just try and, because in the world of social media now, all the players see what their manager says about them if someone else is, you know, is talking about them. So yeah, he probably like wanted to just try and, you know, like settle things down and get the best out of the player while he was under his jurisdiction, you know, whatever. That's how I see it. I don't see it that, you know, De Zerbi's, you know, he's a football manager. He's not a humanitarian. You're on mute, Sean.
Sorry, I was going to say, I completely agree with you. And I'm just saying, I'm going to put a poll out. Are you on board De Zerbi?
Well, it's a bit late now by the sounds of it.
That's what I want to get. There's 1,100 people here. I just want to ask, are you on board De Zerbi? Well, I want to give 4 options. Yes, but have an issue with MG thing. No, but not because of MG.
And
yeah.
I'm like beyond offended and won't set foot in the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium until De Zerbi is sacked.
Hang on, we're done. Yes, but have an issue with the MG. No, but not because of MG. Yes, because of MG. No, that's not going to work. No, because of MG. hang about. What am I doing there? Making a real balls up of this. Yes. And that's it. That'll do. There's only 3. Yes, but I have an issue with MG. Oh, hang on. Yes, and no issue with MG. Okay, there we go. I hope that makes sense. It probably doesn't. You're probably all going to be fucking confused by those 4 polls. I want to see where everyone feels, how everyone feels about it. Let's. That's probably the most confusing poll I've ever done, apart from the girl from Beaver Street that had a very low IQ. You ready for the next video?
Yeah, bring on Jordan.
Let's see what Jordan's got to say, because this is a poor man, Sean Butler. You know, let's see what he says.
What state Spurs have got themselves in terms of having to be held up against the wall and absolutely metaphorically bent over by a manager that doesn't really stay anywhere for longer than 2 years at the best of times. Pay him, if this is indeed what's being reported and has accuracy attached to it, to be the 3rd highest manager in the Premier League without actually having done that much as a manager. Besides a few decent performances at Brighton for a period of time, a little bit of a performance at Shakhtar Donetsk, and a little bit of a performance at Marseille, all of them resulting in everyone falling out with him and him being shuffled out the door, one way or t'other. What a state Spurs have got themselves in. Yeah, they do, because I don't know why they want to give him a 5-year contract. I don't know why anyone would want to be handing out 5-year contracts to managers that you don't have a relationship with. I get the fact that you want it for 2 or 3 years, and what's the difference between 3 and 5 years? Probably about 10 million quid by the sounds of this particular contract. Spurs have got themselves into such a situation now where they're in such a difficult position because the ramifications of relegation are so incomprehensible, not just to the revenue streams that Stefan Borson was describing, because they can patch that up by selling players and reducing wage bills and the parachute payments kicking in for half of the liability. But the overall value of Spurs and the mission statement that they have, despite their protestations, is to sell it. This will just decimate any value, because the one thing that they decided to make sure that everyone knew when Spurs is for sale, relegation, not for Tottenham Hotspur, that doesn't happen. We are guaranteed franchise of the Premier League. So the ramifications for Spurs are huge. So they have to get this clown in to fix a problem for the next 7 games and give him an absolute king's ransom to do it.
Yeah.
And then guaranteed in 18 months' time, fall out with him.
Yeah, but if he comes in now, and they don't drop to the Championship, he's no clown, not in Tottenham's eyes.
Well, no, of course not. He'll be their saviour. But they'll all be clowns together. They'll be all riding around the same car. But the fact is that they are being held. Their feet are being held to the fire. These are the commercial negotiations that go on inside football, and they put themselves in such an invidious position that they're going to have their pants pulled down, metaphorically, and their little bodies spanked blue. Every aspect of my commercial mindset bristles against the idea that this is not a negotiation. This isn't a commercial discussion. This is Tottenham Hotspur being told what they're going to do by a manager. That won't sit well in the longer game.
No,
because he will get.
You're never allowed to be manoeuvred into a situation like that.
You do get manoeuvred in situations.
But they've got no choice.
They've manoeuvred themselves into it.
Yeah.
So as a matter of course, as a typical football scenario, just throw everything at it and try and create an outcome. Doesn't matter about the long-term situation. I don't think he should be getting a 5-year contract, and I certainly don't think the saucy sod should be getting a relegation get-out-of-jail card. But he will, and they will, and they'll do it. And so they might as well get on with it. Just give him what he wants.
I mean, excuse me. He's got a point, right? He's definitely got a point that this, like the structure of this deal is, it's clear to me that De Zerbi didn't fancy the job 2 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, 8 weeks ago.
The only way that they could get him in was to, just go bananas, frankly. Was to, just like money for old rope. And, I guess at the end of the day, it's just like, sure, if you want to pay me rather than, the 6 mil that you were originally going to offer me a year, or 7 mil, whatever, 12 mil a year, and I get a relegation clause. I've got, 7 games. Best case scenario, I'm still on 12 mil a year. Worst case scenario, I'm still quids in. Like he's in a win-win.
I'm not worried, or I am worried, but like, in the fan advisory board minutes, obviously we'll look at the financial stuff. But in the FAB, there was all of this like, the problems that we're in are because of the last model of ownership. Which again, like it's so slimy to sit there and pretend like things have changed when one person's been outed of the thing. But he was predicting like we spent too much money, yada yada yada. You had what's his name, Matt Law, coming out and saying, you know, that they're going to have to be fire sales, 300 million quid of losses if we go down. All that stuff may or may not be true. I don't think it's as bad as they say. But in order to have got De Zerbi in, you'll have had to have made promises not just on the compensation and the get out of jail free card if you go down, a nice bonus if you keep them up. But also, I agree with Simon Jordan here. They've had their pants pulled down by a manager, and they probably had to promise all sorts of things in the summer that if those promises don't get met, then he will explode and throw the grenade by about September the 5th.
But my question to you is, this reeks of exactly the same situation when they, you know, went cap in hand to Conte, having asked him to come before, and he was like, no. Same gig where they promised him the world and, you know, then didn't give him what he was asking for. And then we wonder why he had a meltdown.
Sure. And again,
this is like carbon copy.
It is carbon copy
manual, mate. It's like exactly the same thing. Promised the world, you know, just to get him in the door. And then, you know, once he's in, oh, well, it's all right. You know, oh, it's a bit expensive. Not sure I can do that.
So if he doesn't keep us up, then obviously he'll trigger his relegation release clause and get out, right? And then we're fucked anyway. We're going down 250 million. So everyone's saying it's a 60 million pound bet to save 300 million. There's truth to that, but I would imagine that he's getting his 10 million quid, whatever, between now and the end of the season, or 5 million quid between now and the end of the season. And if he keeps us up another 10, and then all the other promises then have to be kept. In a world where he doesn't, then he's out of the club anyway, and we're all fucked. So it's a lose-lose. In a world where he does, then the 60 million pound bet thing is still going to be ridiculously expensive, because if they have made promises around spend, and this is the problem, okay, you're not in control of your decision making. There's things in life that you can control: what you do, what you say, all that stuff. You're not in control of how people receive that information. You're not in control of how people react to it. You can't control the environment. You can only control what you do and what you say. So Tottenham, and I've said this before, De Zerbi for me is a manager that I would like in a settled environment. I would like him. I would, because I like the way he plays football. I like his gumption. But this squad is not the squad for what he needs to play. So you're going to have a massive turnover of staff. You're going to have to. And I'm just talking about the likes of Romero that want out, or Porro that maybe wants out. Maybe Porro will like playing for De Zerbi. Maybe it will suit him, right? But someone like a Micky van der Ven, maybe they want to go anyway. De Zerbi, it might. Udogie, it might suit him. It's not sure as fuck not going to suit a Pape Sarr. It's sure as fuck, in my opinion, not going to suit a Richalison. It's sure as hell not going to suit even a Solanke, right? These guys are not technically good enough footballers to be able to play the one-touch sort of move and groove sort of stuff that Zerbi wants. So even if Tottenham were lying on the FAB and when they were saying we don't have money, there's going to have to be mass sales and you know, blah blah blah, because we spent too much before and we haven't sold enough players, and even if that was a bunch of bullshit and there is the money to spend in January, in the summer, it doesn't mean that you're going to be able to spend it how De Zerbi wants, because you're not in control of how you spend your money. You're in control of your intention to spend money, but whether the players that you want to buy for De Zerbi's system want to come, whether the clubs that those players are at want to sell at the price point that you deem reasonable, all of those things are outside of your control.
Well, that, and the fact is, where we are now, let's assume, like, best case scenario, De Zerbi saves us, we stay in the league. We know that there's, you know, the pecking order that we always talk about, right? So in reality, unless we get entirely lucky and, you know, lightning strikes, chances are we are going to be, you know, like somewhere in the 6th to 10th priority, you know, of a potential player in the Premier League, right? That's where we are right now. So at that stage, unless you want to still pay top money, you rely on having people adept at, you know, recruiting and adept at player profiling and so on. The one thing that we know is that the guy that is currently sitting in the DOF position is just not good at identifying players to play in the first 11. He's a youth player identifier. That's his thing.
And we've got enough of them.
Yeah, and we've got enough of them. And you've got then Mackenzie, who came in on his coattails, who's seemingly equally, inept as well. So until you clear them out and get someone in that actually, people can get behind and get excited about, and who does come with, a bunch of contacts and is well respected and comes with, a bunch of other people who have the ability to scout properly, then it's all a moot point. It doesn't matter. You're entirely right. It doesn't matter what the budget is until you have an organization and structure in place. It's at that stage, it's scatterfire.
Yeah, and it's just, for me, right? If you're looking at, let's say, forget about the one where we go down. Let's say we stay up. So he gets his, whatever he's got between now and the end of the season, he gets his bonus. I don't care about that stuff. It's chump change in the end. It's not chump change, but it's relatively small in the grand scheme of things. Then suddenly you walk into the transfer market in the summer, which is a difficult market anyway, because it's a World Cup year.
Yep.
Right. So all the players are, as soon as the season finishes, they fuck off to America with their teams.
Yep.
And they're not going to be interested in doing any of these negotiations or transfers. How many of the players that you want to sign are not going to be at the World Cup? Most of the players that you want to sign are going to be at the World Cup. There's also going to be the argument that some people, you don't want to sell players before they've had their World Cup because their market value will move. Probably won't go down, but might go up if Richalison fucking scores 7 goals.
Classic example was Hammers, right? Hardly anyone had ever heard of him before he, had that awesome World Cup with Colombia. And then, got signed, for turbo bucks by Real, wasn't it?
PSG, was it PSG or Real? One of those two. Real. Yeah, he got 80, 90 million.
And then he got,
insane.
Yeah,
didn't do anything.
Then he got passed around like a used, after that, right? But the point being is, just because someone has one good tournament, you've got to look at the body of work as a whole, right? That's
right. But my point being that there is just the economics of the World Cup. So if you have a player that does emerge, then you're not going to want to sell them until after the World Cup because you won't know if you're leaving money on the table.
Correct.
And most people who have a bad World Cup, it doesn't really affect their rating. But if you have a good World Cup, it goes up. So there's that economic argument. Look, by the time the World Cup finishes, you've got 2 weeks until preseason. I think preseason might even start a week. So some of the players will join the preseason late, right? Wherever Tottenham are going.
Australia.
It's Australia again, is it? Okay.
Yeah.
So you've got like a month basically to get everything done, which will be crazy. But you've got Roberto De Zerbi, who's been promised all this money. He's on a 5-year contract. And again, I don't give Tottenham the credit for being able to construct a protective contract when there's no evidence in the past that Tottenham pay attention to the clauses in the contract. We saw that with Matt Doherty, and we saw it most recently last year with regards Alejo Veliz, right? When we were trying to get that deal done when he was at Rosario Central and we couldn't bring it. So, first of all, even in a normal environment, you're just not very good at writing contracts that are clear or that you're aware of all the clauses in. Second of all, if it's true what Jordan's saying, which I completely agree with, the sentiment of, that you aren't the one that's driving the negotiations, you're the one that's saying, yes, sir, no, sir, 3 bags full, sir, then are you really going to have, is De Zerbi going to have been okay with the idea that if he decides he wants out, or if there is some decision from the board to sack him within 6 months of next season, that he doesn't get his full payout? Pochettino got his full payout. We were still paying Pochettino off in 2024.
Right.
So, to me, this notion of, don't worry, if he throws the grenade, because all you got to do is call out the board and say, this is the club, and the board will say, we can't have that. It looks like the tail is wagging the dog, even though it clearly is in this scenario. But if the negotiations have been as one-sided as what they say it is, then those clauses won't exist. So he'll just throw the grenade and then we'll be paying him out. Let's say he's on, what do they think he's on? 10, 11 million quid a year?
12 a year, they reckon.
So 12 a year. So we might have to pay 48 million quid out in 6 months' time to a geezer who's been here for 6 months. Plus he will have got his stay-up bonus. Plus, and like I say, who the fuck knows what the state of the finances are? Because the finances that we can look at in a minute regarding
we know there's X amount of revenues from Champions League, right?
Mm-hmm.
We know what that figure is.
Yeah, I'm sure the reports are going to say record revenues, right? But it's a lagging indicator because that money, a lot of that money's already been spent. And we didn't have a Harry Kane sale last summer, so expect to sell Micky van der Ven and Romero in this summer to raise 100 million quid or 130 million quid. But again, then Tottenham are going to face the situation where every club knows that you've got a new manager with high demands and you've just sold your two best players. Where do you go to find them? Where do you go to find the replacements? And how do you, like, again, you're sat there not in a strong position.
Well, all of them are going to come at, with a premium now, right? If they know that basically Romero and Van der Ven are gone, that's where I think you've got to bring back Vuskovic. By hook or by crook, ultimately he's a Tottenham Hotspur player and you've got to bring that kid back, even if it means that you start him alongside Kevin Danzo. I genuinely, that is my thought, is the kid is meant to be superb. All right, well, De Zerbi is meant to be a coach, as opposed to just a manager. So with that in mind, and with the footballing ability that supposedly Vuskovic has, then get him in, no questions asked, and then you start to have less pressure exerted upon you as far as how desperate you are for a central defender.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. By the way, have you just, I don't know if you saw this morning, I've just been reminded of it, that Newcastle United's owners sold St. James's Park to themselves.
Genius.
So they've avoided a loss of nearly £100 million as a result. They've booked a profit instead. I mean, what are we doing here? Like, if we have owners that show real ambition, we could do that. We could do that. We could sell the stadium to ourselves. We could sell the car park under Sainsbury's to ourselves. We could sell the hotel that hasn't been. But instead, Tottenham Hotspur's owners take money out of the club to buy the property and keep it on the books, and then don't develop the fucking property. Everybody else is doing the old Chelsea routine of selling their left hand to their right hand and then loaning it back for a cheeky danger wank. It's
yeah, I mean,
it's insane. It's insane.
You'll remember that they're quite things, like the initial idea. So when there was the multi-club thing, you'll remember initially that Levy did that, right? There was the multi-club thing, and they're like, "Oh, I don't know about this. This seems this is a bit of a grey area. Better get out of this." So they were the first, they were the first through the wall on that, and then they just completely, when everyone else were like, "Oh, that's actually a good idea. Let's make it happen." They're like, "No, we know best. Better not."
Yeah, but that's the point for me on this whole ENIC thing, right? Like, I love having a conversation with ENIC with, say, Connor, because Connor's incredibly balanced, right? He feels very differently. He feels very strongly. I don't think he feels as strongly as people like Stell or Brian Daigle this world, but he feels very strongly that ENIC are a problem, right? And I listen, absolutely fine, absolutely fine. The conversation that I have with him, though, I think where we can meet in the middle is that I don't think it should be frowned upon or scorned or chastised for an owner of a football club expecting the laws to prevent that sort of manipulation of the rules to be able to basically do, because it becomes a race to the bottom, right? If like PSR at this stage, it affects the teams that can't do certain things, and the teams that can manipulate the rules. Now, Tottenham are a team that can, but have ownerships that choose not to. Right. Now, so the easy argument as a fan is to say, well, fucking fix up and start showing ambition. But ambition is just a nice little packaged word to sit there and say that these guys are bad owners because they're not doing the things the naughty way. And that PSR and FFP have only really ever had teeth against teams that don't have the resources to be able to do the things that, say, Chelsea, Newcastle, Manchester City, et al. Do, right? But if
your pockets are deep enough, from a legal perspective, you can hire the best, legals that there are available, right? And you can basically, if you're rich enough, you can then outlast the likes of the Premier League. But like, you can just litigate, you can drag it on and on and on.
But do you want to live in a world, in a footballing world? It might be the reality. It is the reality. But is it a reality that we should all be championing for? Or should we not?
I mean, we can't claim, from certainly like the way I see it, mate, is that, we can't sit here and say, well, we're going to be morally convenient with one thing and, and not with the other. So, for example, like this whole De Zerbi malarkey, my stance on that, that like from a, like moral perspective, I'm like, well, he wasn't the culpable party, right? So to that end, I'm just like, do you know what? From a, moral perspective on the club thing, I'm just like, if everyone else is doing it, then ultimately that's the new norm. That's just a sign of the times. It's not that it's morally one way or the other. That's just where the landscape has moved to. And until there is a time when, it's categorically shut down and stopped, I'm not sure it's a moral discussion, just as a changing of a landscape discussion.
No, I'm not saying it's moral, whether it's right or wrong. It's more just around should we be championing meritocracy as a not just a fan of Tottenham, but as a fan of football.
Yeah, but mate, if
it's a race to the bottom, Hugo, we're not going to win that race either.
No, but mate, it's like if it's
people sitting there saying
top, it's like, if it's from the very top where you've got FIFA, and that
I hear you. Like it's corrupt as fuck. The game's corrupt as fuck. The rules are opaque and can be manipulated by the wealthier teams. But if the argument from Tottenham fans is we could do more like what Chelsea do, or like what Newcastle have just done, sure, we can do that. But for me, even if everybody starts to do that and go, fuck the rules, they're irrelevant, there's no rules, let's just own it, right? The Premier League don't give a flying fuck, clearly, all that stuff. I'm not saying from a moral perspective, that's saying, well, look, we're whiter than white and everybody else is dirty. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that in a world where you tear up the rules and just go, fuck it, let the wealthiest people do what they want and let everybody else, like,
we're already there, Sean.
Yeah, but all you're going to have in that environment is a new set of champions, and Tottenham won't be there either.
That's where we already are, though, Sean.
That's what I'm saying. So, like, we're sitting there saying our owners are a fucking disgrace because they don't cheat the same way those guys do. But even if we were to cheat the same way those guys did, those guys could cheat more, and we still wouldn't have the Premier League titles. We still wouldn't be winning the trophies. It's no different. It's a like you're swapping one set of problems for another.
Well, it's all relative.
Tottenham don't have the deepest pockets.
It's all relative, as in, like, yeah, we wouldn't be the richest, but equally, like, at least we might be somewhat nearer the noise.
Yeah. I don't think we would, though. I don't think we would. I think if you were to look at
not with the inability to recruit and frankly do anything that's decent with football.
But all of the teams that have got fantastic recruitment, like Brighton and Brentford, what do they win? They don't win anything. They don't win anything either.
But what I'm saying
it's a different race at the bottom with different leaders, with different people that will become champions.
With more money, you've got the ability to do things like, have another club where you can play, silly buggers with loans, and swapping backwards and forwards and, all the rest of that, right? And it then also means that, if you want to go, whether it be in Europe or whether it be in South America, it all ends up being effectively a feeder system, right? That's the point. And that means that you can, be doing recruitment locally with your satellite club over here is able to go and do deals with, their local club to, start bringing on talent from there. It just becomes a lot easier, I think, if it's then part and parcel of the same ecosystem.
But do you want a world? Do you want a game of football, a global governance game of football? In an ideal world, would you rather the rules mean something, or would you rather there be?
Yeah, I would rather that they meant something, but that's in a utopian world, and that ship has.
It doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be.
It does when the officials who are setting the rules from the very top are corrupt as heck. Right,
but that's what I'm saying. But if fans got together as like they did with the whole with the Super League thing, and universally showed their consensus that this is not for us, then you can move needles, right? Not on an individual football club. There's absolutely no evidence anywhere to show, and I'll stick to this until I'll die on the hill until I see evidence to the contrary. There's absolutely no evidence of a fan base that's unhappy with their ownership. With lack of ambition or lack of intent or whatever else, despite the circumstance, despite the nuance, there's absolutely no evidence to see that protests lead to an ownership selling their club at a depreciated price point simply because of a frustrated fan base. It doesn't work, right? It took Newcastle 15 years. Right? Look at Sheffield Wednesday. Sheffield Wednesday were furious with what their ownership did. Shaqiri, or whatever his name was, he only left because he had to. He had to. He was like by injunction. Okay, so like there's plenty of others. I think it's Hartlepool or Blackpool? I think it might be Blackpool. Their owner went to prison for 6 years for some horrendous crimes. They protested the entire time. He came out of prison and became the chairman again. Like, so like there's no evidence of protest like linking to like unequivocal direct depreciation of the value of a price point. But there is evidence of fan bases coming together and protesting against corruption or protesting against bad outcomes that affect the entire football club, and then, affecting the entire football ecosystem. And then those fans getting together, and then they're showing some sort of like cross team support.
Yeah,
for
but
some
Sean,
notion
you're not going to get the unanimous, like protesting and whatever else, because the clubs that have got away with it for so long. You think the fans of those clubs are going to be on board? They're like, no, thank you. We quite like it how it is at the moment. Like we're the haves versus the have-nots.
Sure, but there's only two or three, isn't there?
Them,
yeah, sure. But there's only 2 or 3 clubs that operate in that capacity. I would imagine the vast majority of football fans would like to see a leveling of the playing field where the dice are slightly less loaded and the table slightly less tilted. Right, and
well,
I just think
be so.
For me personally, when you have Tottenham fan base that is absolutely furious with their owners for essentially living by the rules and trying to create an ecosystem that is where ends meet, I think, and I stand by this. I know it's an unpopular decision because I don't think people. I think people just prefer a simpler life where it's easier to just jump on a bandwagon that doesn't require a little bit of sort of critical thinking. But I believe that Tottenham's fans should have as much anguish and ire and frustration with the inability for rules to be set that are actually applicable and enforceable. And I think that you would find ownership, you find fan bases from teams like West Ham that would feel the same, from Fulham that would feel the same, from Brighton, from Brentford. It would be nice to work to operate in a league whereby the gap was closed because it came down to your merit. How good are you at doing your job? How good are you at finding revenue streams that are legitimate, not getting fed up the fucking arse by some fucking ventriloquist that's sitting there pretending like this, the fucking dummy's talking for itself when it isn't.
The example, though, that I would give you is, for example, you look at like Formula One, right? Every once in a while, like this year, they come out with the new stipulations of all teams are going to operate within the following parameters.
Yeah.
Right? Even then, the wealthiest teams are the ones that typically still do better because they have more money to throw at things such as the, like development and ways in which to skin the cat in a different way that works very close to the line, but doesn't quite cross it, right? But they have more money to throw at the situation to find out how close can they get to it to get the competitive advantage versus their competitors. And that's the thing, that even if you have those fixed parameters in place, the people that have the deeper pockets are still going to be able to do better because they can afford to investigate, how close they can get to breaking the rules or even mildly breaking the rules without there being ramifications in order to differentiate themselves from the others.
I hear you, mate. I hear you. I 100% hear you. And like I say, I'm not trying to sit there and say I'm right, anyone else is wrong. I personally just think that the game of football, I think you're also right in saying it's too little, too late. It's too late, right? The game is where it's at. But I just think it's a fucking shame. It's like sitting there saying, if you can't beat them, join them in a world where everybody's going out robbing. Like it feels like it's that, when COVID happened and there was, or like I remember the protests. I lived in Clapham back in 2012. Was it 2011? I remember there were riots. There were protests in the streets about something. I forget what the specific political thing it was. And I remember Clapham High Street getting looted for like 6 nights running. I remember old buildings that were 500 years old getting set on fire, right? Ruining the ecosystem and ruining the environment, ruining the look and feel of the place. And I remember every shop, like I remember JD Sports getting like completely ravaged by this bay of a mob mentality. And it's like the argument is, oh, that's what we're doing now, is it? Okay, cool. Well, I don't want to get left behind, so I'm going to run in and steal a pair of trainers as well. Like, I just think that's not how I choose to look at life. I think that I don't think that Daniel Levy should be chastised for assuming that a set of rules were going to be implemented and held to account. And part of the reason why people hated Daniel Levy in it for as long as they did was because of the perceived lack of success. But in no small part, the reason why there was a real lack of success was because of new entrants into the market that either got ahead of the rules or continued to cheat despite having the obscene resources available to them. The Chelsea punishment that happened recently is the latest in a long line of obscenely poor decisions by the rule makers.
Yeah, but what does that tell you? What does that tell you about the rule makers?
I hear you. I'm with you. I completely agree. They're all corrupt and they don't know what they're fucking doing. And the smartest minds in the room are looking for the outcomes that can circumvent the rules rather than the ways to be successful within the rules. I completely get it. It doesn't mean that I have to be on board it. I'm like, and if you say like I'm wrong because I don't see it through your lens, then I will say, well, I think that you're wrong, but I don't. I'm not saying that you're wrong. I'm just saying that my perspective on this is that the game is fallen into a level of disrepute that I'm not okay with. It puts me off enjoying football. But the fact that this keeps happening, does it mean that I want Tottenham to just to become a bad person because everybody else is a bad person and getting away with it? Would I steal a Ferrari just because someone else did and got away with it? No. Would I kill someone just because someone else did and got away with it? No, I wouldn't. That's not how I've been brought up. And I would hope that most people, and I'm using extreme examples there, right, I would hope that most people could see that actually the pursuit of a better world is better than jumping on board a bad one because that's just the way the world has gone.
Right, but until such a time where you have a complete clearing out of the hierarchy of football, it's just going to be more of the same. Because it's just a self-perpetuating thing, and the more scamming and the more everything else that's being done, right? The more money that's involved to ring fence them against people coming for them. You look at FIFA. They got rid of one and just bought in another one that was as equally corrupt.
Of course. So, I mean, again, I would still rather maybe I feel like I'm not trying to present myself as a martyr in any way, shape, or form. But I just think if we all just get on board things, then again, for me, even if we did, Hugo, even if suddenly the ENIC family went, you know what, I want to put £1 billion into the cup, which we know would never happen. Right. Like these particular owners would fail in a world where we get on board the corruption of it. And we start selling our left hand to our right hand relative to the people that have got,
I don't know, mate,
far deeper.
He's pretty good at corruption, as it happens.
But only corruption that suits his needs.
Well, there you go. So I mean,
right, if ENIC have got £4 billion or £5 billion, right?
Yeah.
The PIF have got 700 billion.
Right.
The Abu Dhabis of this world have got 300 billion.
Yeah.
The Aston Villas of this world have got 25 billion.
Yep.
Liverpool's owners are wealthier. Manchester United's owners are wealthier.
Yeah.
We are still going, even in a world where it becomes like there is no PSR rules, spend what you want, buy what you want, and this rampant inflation just becomes out of control. Even in that world, Tottenham are not going to be successful, even in that world, because there's people with deeper pockets. So if you're not going to be successful in a world where there's some element of law and order, or you're not going to be successful in a world where there's no element of law and order, where would you rather spend your energy trying to move people towards that direction or the other direction if success is irrelevant either way?
Well, I think when you can't compete on an even playing field because it just doesn't exist, then I guess you have to look at trying to do other things, which if you can't compete by going out and getting the best players, then you have to make them yourself. But that, again, boils down to having competent people in the right position to identify that talent early doors to get them in, to get them in the club. That's it.
Fair enough.
If you can't compete by going and getting the biggest dogs that there are around, then you have to get in the puppies and make them.
Yeah, and on that basis, look, I got no idea whether Lucas Berghvall will still be a Tottenham player in the summer, but I would imagine that in 2 or 3 years' time, Mathys Tel, if he's still here, I would imagine that Archie Gray. I would imagine that Luca Williams-Barnett. I would imagine that we've got half a dozen players that by the time they reach their 22, 23, which is still relatively young, that those players are going to be better than what we've got right now, right? But the balance has just got a little bit mixed, I think, with regards. I think we went too far in the other direction, which again is another criticism I'm happy to throw towards the ownership. I just think that this again, there's the reason why Sunday's show on Sabba's got the way it did. Yes, I probably had a few too many beers and stuff, or I'd certainly I was smashed by the time we got off our show, let alone the more I drunk afterwards. Yeah. But again, all I ever do is challenge the narrative, and when certain people get together in certain environments where there's been a cultivated chat room of people.
You do enjoy poking the bear though, in your contrarian self.
Yeah, of course. That's what content. Like maybe maybe my specific content style isn't for everybody. But if we're having a conversation, Hugo, where you're agreeing with what I'm saying, I'm going to be part of that conversation, right? But you pushed back on me for the last half an hour, which I've enjoyed because it gives us a.
You're an agitator. You're an agitator.
No, I just want to have a debate. That's what football's supposed to be, right? Like, I'll take the other side of any particular argument. If there's an argument that's being presented that everything in life is black or white and that everybody thinks it should be a certain way, I'm going to tell you I'm going to challenge you and say, well, hang on a second, you might feel that way, but there's this, that, and the other reason why that's not necessarily the case. Let's chew through that.
Correct.
That's the point of content.
And this is the full circle conversation we were having earlier about it's okay to have a different opinion. I don't have nobody has to respect it. But, you can listen to it and, you can say, do you know what? With the new information that you've given me, I can change my perspective or my opinion. And that's okay. Yeah.
But the narrative that if you have cultivated an audience of people who, if you disagree, you get blocked.
Right.
And when you operate with when someone else is in the chat.
Then it's an echo chamber, isn't it?
It's an echo chamber, right? And so that's how you get situations where someone comes in, if there's 1,200 people watching, but there's only 60 people commenting because the other 1,100 aren't allowed to, then that's how you get situations like you got what happened on Sunday night, right? Now, I'll take my fair share of the blame if I was over talking people or if I was being a little bit like slurry worded or whatever, because that's on me for that. But the idea that that there's only one way of skinning a cat with regards to thinking about Tottenham Hotspur, which is what echo chambers present, is really problematic. And I'm more than like the chat itself doesn't bother me in the slightest bit. Like I couldn't give a flying fuck about people's opinions.
In theory, right? A club's board, in theory, a club's board is meant to bring, or just any competent board, right, is meant to have different opinions that all sit round the table, throw them into the middle to arrive at the conclusion which they believe is in the best interest of a club or company or whatever. That's the whole point of a board, right? Otherwise, what's the point in having more than one person on the board?
Oh, exactly. But that's the thing, right? To me, conversation is the right way to fix any problem.
Yeah.
In a world where people are open-minded. I'm more than open-minded to other people's opinions, right? Especially on things that are very controversial, like politics, danger wanks, LGBTQ stuff. Like, it's not for me personally, but I understand why they feel the way they feel, and I understand that they want to promote their own interests. They want to I get it, but I think that people that shut themselves off from opposing opinions, you end up with two problems, right? One is you end up with no ability to conceive of your opinion other than being factually correct, which is what I see all the time with certain people. And again, this is nothing to do with the people on Sunday's show, but other people in the community. I see these things where they represent facts or opinions as facts. It's a fact. Yeah. It's settled science. No, it fucking isn't. Just because you feel a certain way and because everyone that you surround yourself with tells you that they think the same way, it doesn't mean it's a fact.
Yeah, but that's what wokeism is. It's presenting.
Well, not just wokeism, because I think that other people would say the same about the other side, right? Like people on the left would say, people on the right would. I'm just saying, anybody that's over here on any particular topic, if you are massively on the hard right or the hard left in politics, and you think that what you're saying is facts, you might be stating facts. You might be stating. He says, well, listen, 2 million people have joined this country in the last, have come in this country illegally, for example, right? And then you go, that's just a fact, okay? And then they go, 80% of them are on benefits. That's just a fact. Okay, cool. there's also it might be a fact. It doesn't mean that your opinion is right about that, because
right,
there's
but
other facts. There's alternative facts.
It's also selecting certain facts and presenting them in such a way so as to, you know, slant the conversation,
of course,
to whichever way that you want it to be.
If you have a desired outcome, right, and there's a lot of people in content that are very clever, right? Personally, I think content has a disproportionately high amount of ego. Let me get rid of the thing for a second. Content generally, again, not just Tottenham, not just football, not just anything. Right? I spend all day long watching content for politics. I'm massively into politics, right? So, but I've gone out. I personally go out of my way to like understand things, to look at content that I will probably fundamentally disagree with, because I want to understand how it is that those people come to the conclusions that they do. But I see a common theme with people that do content is that ego gets in the way of balance, and people reverse engineer from a conclusion and then fit the story after the fact that suits the narrative. And then if they're smart enough to sit there and say, you can't accuse me of having an opinion, I'm presenting you with facts, cool. But for every 5 facts that you present, you're picking those facts because it suits your conclusion. There's probably 5 other facts that you could also look at that the other side would present and say, that's why we feel the way we feel.
Right.
And neither echo chamber will ever contemplate the other person's 5 facts.
Middle ground.
And that's the thing though, Hugo, like in anything in life, there's so much fucking room in the middle.
Of course.
Come to the middle of the road. Like if someone says to me, I feel this way, I go, I disagree with you. Here's why. They go, okay, that's cool. And I'll take that on board, but I feel this way and here's why. You can end up with like a merged opinion where you both ultimately still go away and still feel the way that you do, but at least you're more well-rounded and understand the other side. And that's how you don't get to fights. That's how you don't get to wars. That's how you don't get to situations where people get, have horrible outcomes because they don't fit the other person.
There used to be a time and a place where having more opinions, in a melting pot, arrived at a better conclusion.
That's still the reality, but it's just people don't want to choose that reality.
Right,
it's far easier.
That is how it used to be, and where somewhere in the middle ground, worked out to be the best answer, but it's not now. Everything is polarized.
Yeah, there is, and there's enough people because of the media, because of the media failing everybody because they've got their own bought and paid for. Of course. People turn to alternative media, and then those people curate their own audiences and they say certain things, and then it's far easier to just be told that you're right all the time. It's far easier to look. I get it, right? Was it like I don't care about I love the chat. I love the chat. That's why I do these things. I love the chat, right? And I love all the chat. It's important. But like, is it more comfortable to be in an environment where everyone's calling you a donut, calling you a prick, calling you this, that, and the other? Or is it more comfortable to be in a place where there's some people that disagree with you, but everyone agrees with you? It's more comfortable, and people always, like water always finds its level, right? So people always want to lean towards the more comfortable environment. But I generally think that my style of content, you called it an agitator, Hugo. I'm not an agitator. I just believe that good content requires debate.
Sorry, the word I should have used is disruptor.
Either way, like I appreciate the nice sort of the amount of syllables in these words. It's lovely, but like for me, if I watch a channel, and there's channels out there that are both on the right side and the left side, right? That are on the pro this or the pro that within the Tottenham space, where they'll have like 6 people on a panel show, and they all feel exactly the same way. And so what happens then is the person who gets to speak first on the topic gets to say their 5 minutes, and then the person who speaks second, well, they don't want to repeat the things that the first person said, so they start to bring in the things that he's forgotten to say. The third person does the same. By the 6th person, he's got nothing new to add, so starts getting into the world of the ridiculousness. He or she. Speaking of a she, we've got a lovely she coming in.
Oh, look who it is!
How are you, Kate?
I'm good. I don't like coming on with Hugo because I feel as common as muck when I come on to Hugo because he's so well spoken. I was sitting listening to you.
Hey,
and I was like,
I grew up on a farm in the sticks. I've got mates from like all walks of life, and while I might sound a certain way, like most of my mates will tell you that once I've had a few beers, I'm rougher than most of them. So don't worry about it.
I don't believe it. I don't believe it.
No, it's you know, I honestly, I can have a conversation with a fence post. I don't care.
But no, I'm good. Just waiting for that announcement, which looks like it could be any time. By the looks of
Someone
it.
just said I had French genetics. No, I bloody don't.
Oh.
No onions or baguettes in this episode.
How you doing, Kate? You okay?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm loving that jacket today, Shawnee.
Oh, cheers. Yeah, thank you.
Is that an OK Jersey special, or is this a Spurs special?
No, do you know what? This actually was sent to me by someone that was selling these things, and said he goes, do you want to promote them, and we'll give you like 10% or whatever of any sales. And I was like, well, I'd like to see one, like to know what I'm selling first. I don't know what they are. So he sent one to me, and then I was like, I love it. Yeah, I'll promote it. Let's do it. I said, I don't take. I'll just promote it. It's a nice thing. I don't need a discount code or whatever. And then I never heard back from the guy. So
you got a free
free. I don't know if it was shut down or what. I'm sure it's fake. I'm sure it's knocked off or whatever. But you know,
yeah,
this is the world we live in, isn't it? This is the world we live in. You know?
It is. But yeah, good. Thank you for asking. All good.
How are you feeling about? We've gone off on a random tangent into like.
Sorry, yeah, we got.
Probably let's get back to football. What do you? What's your take on the Mason? Oh, not the Mason Greenwood thing. On the De Zerbi thing, Kate. Are you on board him or not? How do you feel about him?
I'm on board all day long. I'm on board with anyone. If they, come in to manage my club, they will get my backing until I see fit otherwise. I think it's all gone a little bit crazy, if you want to know the truth, about, is it just certain members of the fan base looking to shit on someone else? I don't know. I'll never justify what Mason Greenwood did or didn't do. Everyone's heard the audio, seen the pictures, but I also think that A, people could change, and B, who are we to judge? Everybody's different. Everyone reacts in situations. We're all human. We all do things we're not proud of. I said in the group chat, as someone who has been on the other end of domestic violence before, long before Jimbo, I can tell you now it's not nice, but I can also tell you that people do change. And the guy that I was with, I know for a fact has changed. So it is what it is. But I'm behind De Zerbi, and I feel a little bit more hopeful that we can stay up if he comes in. So as easy as that.
Is there a someone saying there's a bomber?
Oh,
is it done?
People say this to me all through my show yesterday. Kept telling me there was bombers and they were lying. It's very close, according to Romano. But no.
Nothing done yet?
No, nothing come up on mine. And as we all know, I did break the Igor Tudor news. But no, nothing has come through yet to me from my sources. Just saying.
Nice.
It's gonna be like a 5 p.m. thing, isn't it, or something?
Yeah, 100%. It's on at 5 p.m. Let's have a quick little look see at this other story. Actually, before we do, let me. I want to get some. Let me go back to. What am I doing here? Where's my thing? Bookmarks. This one.
Chance of staying up with I think it's hopefully much better chance of staying up with a permanent manager.
Yeah. No, look, he did a great job at Brighton. I remember speaking to some of the people down at Brighton when he first took over, and they were very excited. 2 caveats. One being that he's already been a divisive figure. Some of the fan groups at Spurs weren't happy about comments he made about Mason Greenwood while at Marseille, and they've had a no to De Zerbi campaign.
He won't be there in 5 years' time. But
so day one,
he could be effective for a couple of seasons.
Day one, I think he'll have to qualify some of the things he said, because we don't need any more division among the fan base. We've had enough of that already. The other thing is, one of his problems at Brighton was he wanted more involvement in transfers. And I think he is quite impatient, and he expects good players to be bought for him to allow him to do his job. Now, Tottenham's track record, and it's going to change drastically on that front, in all the years of Enoch, has not been good, which is how they've got themselves into this mess. by not paying the wages, not signing.
Yeah, it could be a problem.
The talent. So I mean, I can see
part of the negotiation will be this.
Well, they are. I mean, they are changing the structure at the club. They're bringing it. They're making it far more top heavy, and they're looking at sporting directors, etc., etc.
I guarantee you that Spurs finish above Chelsea next season if he gets the job, and Rossini is still there at the start of next season.
Wow. I mean, big up to Rain. Rain's coming in. Listen, big up to you, Rain. How are you? You okay?
I'm very good. Thank you very much. Very good. Very good.
Good to see you. Sorry if I gave you a hard time on Sunday, mate. Did I?
I'm a big boy, mate. You know it. You see. I love you, mate.
Love you too. Love you too. It looks like it's done. I'm trying to find the story though. Someone's saying on Talk Sport is saying it's done.
Yeah, I thought I'd come on because you needed it to happen, and I was on when it was like I've been on every single for like major events, so I thought I'd give it a little nudge. But once it's been announced, I'll go.
No, we need to.
I reckon it will be a 5 p.m. Like end of the working day kind of thing. 6 p.m.
I think it'll be before then. I think it'll be 3. But I did get a pop-up from TalkSport saying that it's going to be announced any time.
Yeah, it's not the same thing though, is it? They're all trying to get ahead of it. They're all trying to get ahead. Fuck it, I'm changing my fucking thumbnail right now.
What do you make his assistant is what's the name of the Italian defender? Supposedly.
Can I just ask, what's the connection with Sandro?
So there's two, right? So So first and foremost, I got this one wrong. So Alessandro Nesta, one of the greatest centre backs in the game
ever,
played alongside Cannavaro back in the Italian team in 2000 to 2010. So he is going to be joining apparently as De Zerbi's assistant manager.
Right,
which is fucking class because he rates himself as like he wanting his own managerial job, and he knows how. Hey, absolutely. Listen, we'll get the band back together. Hey, we'll get the band back together. We put Nesta in the back line. We don't need no Romero. We put Alessandro in there. So you put him in, and there's also Sandro of Tottenham fame, who. He's also at Brighton. He did his coaching badges at Brighton. Johnny Boy, my man John, he let me know about this. He said, he went to Brighton under De Zerbi to do his coaching badges and is now a scout at Brighton. And that he is also desperate to join De Zerbi's crew. And so we'll have 2 Sandros. So we could have had one Sandro and a jam roly polies, but instead we're gonna have we having 2 Sandros. Hey, a decent club. What are we saying?
But this is our Sandro, right?
There's Alessandro and Alessandro Nesta, whose name
Nesta, who was an amazing centre back.
You've got the Italian and you've got the Brazilian.
I don't mind it.
We'll have a Sandro sandwich. Sounds good to me. That's all I'm going to say.
Why not? Why not?
Defer to my colleague on the right hand side.
Look, I think it's fair to say it didn't matter who we brought in at this moment in time. There was always going to be fans that weren't happy, whoever it is. If it was Harry, if it was Tim Sherwood, if it was even Pochettino, there was still always going to be fans saying it wasn't the right appointment. I think we're at a stage where, yes, the money we're paying him is a bit ridiculous, but supply and demand, and we are desperate, and he knows that. So he's going to rinse us for every penny he can get, and I don't blame him. I'd do exactly the same thing. So I don't think it's a bad move. I think at the minute, De Zerbi's probably the best of what's available for the most part that we're actually capable of attracting, and we just have to see. But yeah, I'm always lowering the tone. I just see Fiona say that. Wherever I go, the tone gets lowered immediately. I'm afraid it's just me.
I mean, I'm just kind of like, at least, if we can get him a DOF that he can actually work with, where it's not just going to be everything's just not going to be combustible. And where, it's just going to be absolute pushback from the club about everything he's asking. that's what I'm worried about, is just, you know, the club are lying through their teeth to him, and you know, just to get him in the door, and then they won't actually like follow through on you know, any of the stuff that they're promising.
Well, you know where I land on the whole DOF thing. You've seen me have massive rows with people about, you know, about the structure. But what it sounds to me like is they're making promises to him that he's almost going to be like one of those old school. He's actually going to be a manager, right? Rather than a coach, he's actually going to be a manager. He's going to be someone who has much more control over who's coming in. This is what it sounds like. You know, he's exerting from the club. He's going to have much more control over talent acquisition than a normal head coach.
Yeah, but that's what he's being told, Ray.
Well, absolutely, and still do which is the classic manager job. I don't like calling them managers. And actually, if you look at our last like 10, they're all called coach. Yeah, they're all called. None of them are called manager, right? We call them manager. They're all called coach. But if they actually go back to that model, I'm fully on board, because I think this whole DOF coach thing, I just don't think it works. You see,
well, we've got two of them.
Well, yeah, we go mad bonkers. You see, with successful clubs, they always drift. They always start there, right? Or they will start there, and they always drift towards the coach, Klopp, Pep, whoever it is, Arteta, having far more control over talent acquisition, because ultimately, that's what you know. That's what gets you results on the pitch, is having the right players on the pitch.
Yeah. Let me ask you this. There's a few different things here, right? So this geezer, Benevento, was at one. Sandro worked with De Zerbi for one season at Benevento. Sorry, Sandro. So Sandro said, this is from Sandro. I worked with him well and fell in love with him the first week. He's got passion. He's there every day, like a teacher. He practiced a lot, the repetition. He later told BBC Sport, he's a manager who wants to have the ball all the time, a very intelligent and very particular manager who thinks a lot about the game. He helps players and gives them the details they need to hurt the opponent. Benevento were in a very bad situation, but De Zerbi picked some players to try to improve the team, and I was part of that. I didn't know that I was going to meet one of the best coaches that I've had. It was amazing because I learned a lot from him, and I really enjoyed playing for him. I saw great things. When I arrived there, I was already an experienced player, and I'd seen so many coaches. He made me come to games with fire. Like, what's he going to teach us today? What are we going to do? You must be good to do that. I wanted more. I wanted to play for him. Let me ask you this, guys. If I'll show you the other, because for me, it's like there's so much yin and yang with this guy. There's another, I've got another article I can show you where someone's like, look, the first two weeks were really confusing. We're fucking crazy, if I'm honest. And we haven't got much more than 2 weeks, right? So I don't know how this is going to go. I know it's going to be fun. I know it's going to be interesting. Forget about like what's going to happen in September if broken promises resume in a world where like just his initial impact. Even if he is a bit of a fiery guy, someone like Sandro, who is part of the Tottenham fraternity, is that a good, sensible signing? Because if he rates him and he's saying, no, this guy is crazy, even if De Zerbi's own particular spice is a little bit too hot for certain players, and I'll throw out a name, by the way, someone like Jed Spence, who has shown very little respect for most managers that he's played under. Even like, is someone like maybe Jed Spence is just like a law unto himself where he just doesn't give a fuck, and maybe he's like sort of needs to be moved on anyway.
Would bury Jed Spence
for sure. But like, I'm just saying, even if De Zerbi is like someone who's some people are gonna gravitate towards him, other people are gonna get pissed off by his style. Is having someone like Sandro on the coaching staff who's maybe a little bit more convivial, a little bit more got the rat-a-ta-ta, and he's a bit of a Tottenham guy. Is that a good little bridge that we can lean into, whereby, you know what, De Zerbi says, listen, hey, you don't want to make me talk to that a prick. He's a prick. Sandro, get my message across to him. Get my message across to him. And Sandro goes, okay, listen, whoever whoever it is that a smart, is Sandro, not Nesta, but Sandro, Tottenham Sandro, is that a smart injection of club-based, club favourite, nice guy that has also, that can take that message that De Zerbi wants and can put it across in the right words?
Well, I mean, to all of the people that said before that, there were a bunch of the old school that they have no business, and really coming back into the club and they've been out of it for however long and, whatever else. I mean, Sandro played for us how long ago now? Over a decade ago, isn't it?
Yeah, 10 years ago.
Yeah. I mean, how many of these players now are going to have a clue who Sandro was in the grand scheme of Tottenham Hotspur?
I think quite a few of them will. I think absolutely quite a few of them will.
Well, if they, then you can say the same about Harry Redknapp, and that was an argument that people were giving for however long. That Harry Redknapp's been away for too long. Who's how of these players in this squad now? Who's going to know about Harry Redknapp?
Right,
that'd be the same argument.
Okay, those people can own that argument all they want. I don't agree with it. I think.
Mate, I do too. I'm just playing devil's advocate.
You go, mate. You go, dude. Right. I think they can own that argument all they want, right? And if the players didn't know who Harry Redknapp was, they can educate themselves pretty damn quick. But the difference with Sandro is Sandro's been back at the club repetitively over the last few years. He quite often does half times with Coity. I'm absolutely certain he'll have been in that in the what's it, the
club,
the tunnel. That's it. I'm absolutely certain he'll have been in the tunnel. I'm absolutely certain the Brazilians, will know him, and I'm absolutely certain players like Maddison and co will absolutely know who he is. But more than that, I think just by force of personality, this guy, right? And one thing you can say about Sandro is he's got personality coming out of his head, right? Like one of those Play-Doh things where it's like sort of, and what I was advocating is getting players in, like getting old boys in, like Defoe, Crouchy, whatever, and putting a bubble over that training pitch. And I think Sandro is exactly the type of character who would do that. He would put a player-oriented bubble over that training pitch. So my last point is, if they don't know, educate themselves.
Plus, Sandro is an actual ambassador for Tottenham Hotspur. He goes on people's podcasts, fans. He is a proper Tottenham fan. He's a player that is a Tottenham fan. I think it will be genius to put him in there to bridge that gap, because he bleeds Spurs, and that's what you need. You need these players that are down in tools and not giving a shit to start understanding what Spurs means to the fans. And I think Sandro is the perfect guy to put that across. And if they don't listen to him, he can punch them, because he's a big fella, this Sandro, so he can slap them about a bit. So, yeah, I'm all for Sandro coming in. I think it's
Can I ask you, Kate, what about Pochettino? Is he going to feel like, do you know what? Am I always a day late and $1 short? Do Tottenham not care about me like they care about, like I care about them? Is the decision based more on like the situation that we're in and the fact that Pochettino is not available to come before the summer?
Yeah.
And or is it like, if Igor Tudor had worked, okay, let me say this a different way. If Igor Tudor had worked and we were safe, would we be hiring Pochettino in the summer, or would we still be going for De Zerbi?
Well, from what I'm seeing online, obviously, I don't know. I don't obviously know what they think at Tottenham, but from what I'm seeing, De Zerbi has always been the one that they want. For whatever reason, maybe there's someone at Tottenham still that doesn't want Poch back. I don't know. I think if I'm Pochettino, I'm sitting there waiting for it to go to shit, because, I don't care about a year's time. I don't care it's going to cost a fortune to pay this guy off when it all goes wrong, which it will go wrong, because this guy is a volatile character and he's going to clash with the board. We know it. If I'm there and Poch, I'm waiting for it to all go wrong, for the phone to ring. But I think no matter what, I just get the impression that De Zerbi has always been the guy they want, regardless of whether the World Cup was on or not. It just seems like they want this guy, which is kind of strange because, you know, there's a lot of arguments amongst the Spurs fan base all the time if, oh, he's a yes man, which I don't agree with, because if you're an employee, you've got to be a yes man to a certain extent. But De Zerbi's the complete opposite. You know, he is going to be, I want this, and if I don't get this, I'm going to kick up a stink. And I just think for the long term, we all know it's never going to last 5 years, even if it was going swimmingly, because he's a bit unhinged. So if it maybe Poch will never come back, Sean. Who knows? Maybe it's never destined for him to come back. It always seems there's a reason why he doesn't. But you know, I wanted Poch back. At the same time, I think he'd be coming into the most precarious position, and I don't really want that for him because of the memories I've got with him the first time round. So let's just wait and see. We've got to stop talking about Poch for now and get behind this guy, because all that matters is the next 7 games, and he's got a massive job on his hands.
I just wonder if it's a case of, you know, if and when this ownership goes, if it ever gets bought, then would be the time that Pochettino comes back. For whatever reason, it just seems that this board just doesn't want to revisit.
Do you think? I mean, I see Chris there, referee Chris, in the chat saying he's convinced that there's someone on the board that doesn't want Poch. Okay, if that's the case,
well, it's not Cullen can't be blamed now. She's gone.
It's not. Yeah, 100%. Right. So it's not Donna Cullen. It's not Levy.
It might be Matthew the Bean Counter.
Collicott potentially.
Yeah. Well, he's how many are left from the old?
Guard? Flying fuck. And again, we don't know if what Chris is saying is true. I think he's convinced of it personally. But like, there might be some logic to it. This is the thing I go back to. I obviously don't know my arse from my elbow on what's happening in the boardroom. None of us do. Okay, but we've all. I was hurt. I was told by people who have got like a fly on the wall in the chairman's box, and I'm sure he's watching. But he said that, you know, from the horse's mouth, he heard people that were in that box that were saying it was Joe Lewis that was instrumental. Joe Lewis was on the phone to Vivian in the moment when we sacked Thomas Frank, and that it was Collicott and Sherrington that orchestrated that Vinay and Johan Lang were sidelined because they wanted to keep Thomas Frank, and they went and they basically got a fucking post-it note or whatever from a Paratici around Igor Tudor. I don't know what's worse about the football club, right? At the time I said this, and obviously Igor Tudor didn't work out at all. He was terrible. But I don't know what's worse. It's like having people that are footballing people that thought that Thomas Frank was the solution after the fact, or people like Matthew Collicott that don't have a fucking clue about football. They're not footballing people. They are accountants and financial, what they call it, COFs, right?
Yeah, but to be fair,
what's worse?
Daniel Levy was an accountant until he wasn't.
If Matthew Collicott is not sitting there, if Matthew Collicott is also vetoing, like putting, like, finding the additional money for Eberici Eze, right? If we're confident that it's just down to he's looked at the numbers and it doesn't work, then that's one thing. But if he's allowing any element of his personal opinion around Eberici Eze at 27 years old coming into the football club, and he says no, it's not going to work, and like it wouldn't put it past me that these people have been at the football club so long that they actually think that they are capable of making footballing decisions. You know, I know someone who lives across the street from me, like they're like what do you call it? PAs to the CEO of an organization, and they're getting involved. Like they're telling the board of directors in their own business, like that their decisions are silly. And I'm like, what? Like, you're the PA to this. You're not the CEO. You're just the personal. You're the secretary, and you don't have a fucking clue about the business, and you're sitting there because you've been around these people, and you're in a business, you suddenly think that you have the right to influence. Like,
isn't Collicott on the board though?
Yeah, but like he's not a footballing guy.
Yeah, he has a role though, right? He has a role. His role is. My
his role is numbers. You know, can you find the finance? Can you stick to the budget? His role is not, is this player right for a particular system? I think
there's a reason why an accountant can move from any industry to any industry, right? It's because their job is not to have a particular persuasion on the product or the sales or the marketing. Their role is to look at the numbers and sit there and say, can we do it? Yes or no? Can we afford to do this thing? Yes or no? Like if accountants are suddenly like cross-industrial experts just because they're looking at the fucking the Excel documents, sorry, there's a big fucking problem there. Big fucking problem. And I don't know, but like I am concerned that some of the decisions that are being taken by the people that look at the numbers are influenced by their own particular ego, thinking that they know what's better for the footballing side of Tottenham Hotspur than someone that's actually a footballing expert.
Well, I think it's just compounded by the fact that the footballing experts, you know, have proven themselves to be highly inept as well. I think it's just, you know, at a certain point, it's the blind leading the blind, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, but would you if you had to like just okay, easier question. Would you rather in the future Vinay and Johan Lang making a decision on a player, or would you rather Matthew Collicott or Daniel Levy?
Vinay's got no business identifying or frankly like being involved in the selection of a player for Tottenham Hotspur.
Would you rather Johan Lang having the final say, or would you rather Collicott having the final say?
Obviously, I'd rather Lange, but I mean it's between a, you know, like rock and a hard place, and it's right at the frankly, you know, both the rock and the hard place are located at the bottom of the barrel.
Along the bottom feed of dregs, the dregs. 100%.
No, I'm deadly bloody serious. Like,
oh, I know, and
Lange,
I hear you. I
mean, there's a reason why Lange was booted out of Villa. And you know, and Mackenzie with it, like if he was so bloody good, why would they have, you know, got Monchi in, and why would they have then, you know, not only demoted him but then get rid of both he and Mackenzie? At which point, Levy's gone, oh good, cheap as chips. Here we go, in you come, lad, have a seat. You know, not only that, but we're going to give you, you know, whatever. And then Vinay comes in and gives Lange a pay raise. Yeah. Like, what are we doing?
I think the fact that in the dual role thing, Lange was lauded as going to be the kiddie one, right? The one who looks after the youth, and that's what he was demoted to at Villa. I think it tells me that.
No, he then got fired, Rain.
Well, he got demoted, then fired, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Which is like, so he was obviously incompetent at that as well.
I think the fact that he's what that's telling me in Rainland, right up here, what that's telling me is that's where he sees his comfort zone, and actually, it's a pretty good comfort zone because it gives you no immediate accountability for results, right? Any results or any any outcomes are dude. Any outcomes are 3, 4, 5, 10 years into the future, and it's a nonsense. It's a nonsense that there's one person and that's his role. I just think it's bonkers. Sorry, can you go?
No, it's all good. I agree with you on that point. Is like, he doesn't have, as in like the consequences of who he brings in are not realized for probably around 4 or 5 years, right? There's no immediate, unless they suddenly get thrust into the first team because you're in such a state with the medical department, there's so many injuries that the kids have suddenly then got to become the starters, at which point you're just like, oh, well, there's a bit of a talent deficit here, and experience and talent and everything else.
Kate's just updating us saying DiMarzio is saying he has a preliminary agreement in place, just some final details to iron out. Let's assume that it's done for a second. I just want to pivot to this two other stories we haven't looked at all yet today. And just super quickly, I'm not going to get up the actual results. I'm just going to look at, just for the time being, I'll do a different show later on or tomorrow about the results in more detail once I've got a chance to go through it. But I love the way these things are, like the headlines here, right? Look at this. Tottenham announced gigantic loss and reveal huge debt in latest financial results. I mean, Kieran King doing the Lord's work in trying to create more negativity from Football London. There's someone who's just pumped into the chat. Big up to you, Soren. How you doing, mate? You okay?
Yeah, good, thanks. How are you?
Good, mate. I'm good, buddy. Just going through the Football London's analysis. Like I say, I haven't done this myself, but I'm just going to assume that these things are true and then just pick some bones through it. Tottenham have confirmed that their post-tax loss increased to 94.5 million in the period ending June 2025. In a statement released on Tuesday afternoon, the club revealed that the loss for the year after depreciation, amortization, after all of these things, has risen more than 260% from 26 million to 94 million. This is despite total revenue and other income increasing 565 during the reporting period. A statement from Spurs read, the club has today published its financial results. Total revenue and other income increased to 565, driven by our Europa League success, alongside strong commercial performance across sponsorship, merchandising, and stadium events. However, the domestic on-pitch underperformance of both our men's and women's teams during the reporting period had a direct impact on TV and media revenues. It's actually quite interesting how much of a sledgehammer this has had. The loss for the year after depreciation, amortization, player trading, interest and tax increased to 94.7. Sounds like a lot, right? Sounds like a lot when you're only allowed 105 million over 3 years in the Premier League, which is actually not true because those things do not include amortization and depreciation. And it does include depreciation. Dissecting Tottenham's financial results, match receipts rose by almost 20% to 126.5. So about 20 million quid there. The club says this was driven by an increase in the number of matches at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. That's because we got to the final of the Europa League. Looking at UEFA prize money, Spurs banked 34.7 million after winning the Europa League. It was a significant rise on the 1.3 million earned from the 2023 year. The club didn't have European football that season. But TV and media revenues decreased by 23% from 165 to 127. So that's about 38 million quid hit, right? Following Tottenham's 17th place. So again, this is a major reason why the Premier League football clubs want to move to the Premier League, the Netflix for sports thing, because everybody will get the same. Everybody will get access to the same amount of all games will be applied. And we know that next season, that Singapore is the test pilot, and that the 28-29 season is the last. I think it's the last year when Sky has their, and Sky and TNT and that have their duopoly over the situation, at least in the UK. So those things will change. So it's a big hit though, right? 40 million quid, because if you're playing in the top 4 or 5, then you're going to be someone that's on TV more often than you're not. And if you're down the bottom and you're not really at fear of relegation, then you're not going to be on there. So it's actually a massive hit based on the real-time performance. 40 million quid, give or take, based on the real-time Sky and TNT saying, we don't want you for this weekend, we don't want you for that weekend. Right? Interesting. Massive hit. However, don't forget that depreciation on the stadium counts for about 65 to 70 million every year. Commercial revenues and other income from sponsorship, merchandising, and other income such as stadium events, visitor attractions, blah, 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 went up by 22 million. So we're up 22 million there, and we're up about 33 million there. So that's about 55 million. We lose about 40 million there. So we're up about 15 million. We also, of course, they haven't mentioned in this thing here, we also don't get the merit payments. And it was £3 million, give or take, 3.1 million per place in the Premier League. So if we finish 7th, where did we finish the year before? 5th, didn't we? So we lost out on 36 million quid in merit payments by finishing 17th versus finishing 5th the year before, give or take. So it all nets out to be a little bit of a loss when you include those different things. Overall profit from operations before depreciation, amortization, player trading, interest and taxation decreased by 22% by about 30 million quid, which is where that's found. We also didn't have the Harry Kane money that filtered into the season before's figures. And last season, we didn't sell anybody of any note. Obviously, there's a bit of a hit there. Tottenham finished the statement by revealing that the club's net debt has risen from 772 to 831. I don't remember. Do you guys remember there being more debt added to the books that was officially announced? 50 million quid's worth or 60 million quid's worth of additional debt? I don't remember 60 million quid's worth of additional debt being announced in any particular way. And obviously this season we've had the 90 million pound payday loan at the start of the season and then the 100 million pound cash equity injection. Does anyone remember the announcement of a 60 million quid increase in debt? I don't remember it.
There's no way they've put that money, the 150 and then they took the 100 and the 50. There's no way they've put that as a debt against the club, is there?
No, that's this season, so that won't be announced anyway until next season. So, no, they wouldn't do that. But the average maturity of all of our borrowings is 17.6 years. So we've got a mortgage. As with prior years, no dividends have been paid. On the pitch, Tottenham are facing the threat of relegation. Yada yada yada. Is that it? Okay. Yeah. So like, there's not a huge amount of detail. I'll do a video later on. I'll see if I can get Connor involved with that. I'm sure Connor also would want to be doing that on his own channel. Maybe we can do something together on it. But like to me, it doesn't look like it sounds like once again headline grabbing. Tottenham announced huge increase in losses. It really isn't a massive increase in loss because a lot of the overall loss is depreciation. But it does look like. I'm just surprised by the amount of impact that Tottenham finishing 17th in real time with Sky and TNT turning around saying, "Well, we don't want you for the next month or two of televised figures." I think that's actually quite startling. Which does go to show that it's not just the merit money that you lose by finishing 17th versus 7th. You also lose a signet or 5th or whatever else. So there's about a 60 million quid swing there, Rain. I can see you nodding away. There's a 60 million quid swing in revenues from merit payments for the relative underperformance and also for the TV money. That's a big fucking deal.
It's about 75 million, isn't it? It's 38 plus 36. And we gained 34 from winning the Europa League. So Ange's trophy and binning the league, and binning the league.
And how much did we win? How much did we gain from winning the Europa League? So
that's my point. My point is
5 million, yeah,
exactly. My point is there was a massive net loss on that. Right? 40 odd million net loss on winning that. Obviously, maybe you have to factor in. We got some revenue from more games, but it's not going to be massive. It's going to be, basically we lost money on winning a trophy, basically.
Well, I guess you also. I mean, we don't know yet, but you can imagine that we probably made 100 million this year from. But had we lost in the final to Manchester United, then it would have been catastrophic for the finances for next season because you wouldn't have European football. So you'd be net down 100 million quid as well. Overall, you can make the argument that it's worked out by prioritising the Europa League because we won it, and so you not only get the 30 that you win from the Europa League nets off against the merit money that you lose. It doesn't net off the TV media negate, but you do get the 100 million quid or whatever from the Champions League this year. So,
but my suspicion is that not only obviously we got Champions League money this year, but we've seen we've seen our sponsors walking away from us, right? And why are our sponsors walking away from us? Because they don't really care about the Europa League. They care about the Champions League, but they really care about the Premier League, and they really care about how many times we're on TV on the Premier League.
Yeah, it's a big fucking deal. It's a big fucking deal. And obviously this season, though, do you think that I don't remember that many times that Tottenham have played on a because of us being in the Champions League, most of our games have been on a Sunday.
On a Sunday, yeah.
So therefore, most of them have been on TV. So probably, and also the fact that Tottenham's games, like last season finishing 17th, there was no threat of relegation. So it was like an irrelevance to play us. This season, I would imagine that like teams that around this time of year, teams that are like 13th to 10th or 9th, they're not probably that interesting. But Tottenham probably this year, because they are in a relegation battle, they are going to be on TV just as much as teams that are fighting for first, second, and third and fourth, right?
Yeah, as somebody who, I'd be interested to go in and have a look, and obviously I'm going to be interested in Connor's take, his light take on your channel, and then the deeper dive on on his own channel. I'll be very interested in that as somebody who's personally interested in finance. But what it tells us is the club is not in a very good state. Yeah, the club is in a declining financial state. The stadium continues to be. It's not this bonanza that everybody thought it was going to be. Ultimately, the only thing that gets you money is
that must be record revenues though. 575 must be record revenues for Tottenham, or close to it. We've never hit 600 million before.
Yeah, but what people never really understood was you can increase the revenue in the stadium, but look how many more people they employ. So look at the operating expenses must be massive. The operating expenses for that stadium,
it says that operating costs
huge.
It says operating costs. Where is it? Operating costs have gone up. Here we go. Operating costs have increased by 15% from 453 to 521.
Exactly.
Driven by staff costs, hosting more football matches and stadium events.
Yeah.
This is the thing, right? Like people think, oh, every time you get a fucking Beyonce concert or every time you play an extra match, you get 4 million quid in revenue. That doesn't mean it's 4 million quid in profit. Yeah. Like if it's 4 million quid in revenue, but it's 3.2 million in expenses, it's not quite the same, is it? Not quite the same as thinking of it as the way. But listen, you'd rather have I think you'd rather have the additional profit than not. Let me. If anyone's got any takes on that, Soren, Hugo, Kate, you got any takes on the finances?
Yeah, I don't give a shit about the finances. That's my take.
Fair enough. Absolutely fantastic take there, Kate. Absolutely fantastic. What are you saying, Soren?
It's also, for the most part, it's self-inflicted, isn't it? And you can now, bearing in mind that there was word that it was Collicott that jumped in about the potential state of the finances and everything else. I guess now this is goes more towards the proof of that pudding, right? That if we continue to be lurking at the bottom, then it's only going to get even worse.
Yeah,
that's the thing.
But the thing is with the club, you've got to speculate to accumulate, and the club has never really tried to push on. And because we've never tried to push on, that's why we're in the mess now, because we've had opportunities to really push this club forward and become an elite club, and haven't. And this is what we're seeing now, because we've invested in players that aren't top level, and we've invested in the wrong managers at the wrong time and things like that. And this is what we're seeing now, that it's all right running a club that is sustainable and just ticks over quite nicely, but eventually you either go forward or you step backwards.
Yeah, but Soren, the point being, the only thing they have invested in is the real estate, because they're a real estate investment company. They are not a sports entertainment company.
No, so but this is the problem. This is the problem, though, Hugo, that you put people in that are not footballing people and that are money-making people, and that is what they try to do. They try to make money, and they've made the club sustainable in the sense of the owners have never really put any money in. So the club has always run itself and become profitable itself. But that's the problem. It's been a business profit rather than a club.
Yeah, all they've done is they've expanded their property portfolio is what they've done.
Yeah, and that's why now we're seeing the suffering, because, I mean, it's one of those things that if you put a team together and I understand, I mean, I've argued against, chucking loads of money in at the wrong time, but you've got to chuck money at it at some point. And the thing is, when you look at the players we've bought over the last few seasons, we've never bought the players we really needed. We've always stopped gaps. And that's the problem now, that it's hitting the team, which is hitting the finances, which is hitting everything else. I mean, this season we've been on telly more than probably have for a long time, but it's for the wrong reasons. Next season, if we are relegated, I dread to think what what the bloody money is going to be like next year. I mean, we'll be on telly a lot because we'll be in the first division, which is always on Sky, but there's no money to pay for it. So it's concerning in the sense of the business is a cash cow. It really can pull in money, but it goes out. There's holes all over the place, and it just leaks out.
I'm just looking on the actual accounts whether there's any money that's come out for property. I'll show you what I'm looking at. 1 second. Just give me 2 seconds.
So this is Tottenham Hotspur Limited, though, isn't it? So all of that goes through different legal entities.
No, it gets taken out of this as well. If there's money coming out, where would it be?
I mean, the worrying thing is when we talk about finances and probably having a loss, we're just about to sign another manager if it isn't already done, and the excuses will already be there for the summer when we don't buy any players because we haven't got any money because we've lost money again.
Yeah, I think there'll be. Look, the overriding number. I'm pretty sure last season's figures. Let me go right back up here. I'm pretty sure last season's figures were record revenues, and I'm pretty sure it says it here that this year. Here we go. Revenues 564.881. Last year was 517. So record revenue this year. Additional costs for sure. But yeah, less overall profit from operations. Before we get to it, listen, I'm not going to bore everyone with it now. I'll go through it. I'll go for it later on and go do another video about that.
The staffing costs are going to go through the roof because bearing in mind that Levy used to do about 4 different things. Meanwhile, you've got Vinay, bringing in Tom, Dick, and Harry to do everything. And I don't imagine they're doing it for anything less than like 5-figure salaries and probably like mid 5-figure salaries at that. I mean, mid 6-figure salaries at that.
Can we move to the back to De Zerbi, right? Who are the players that you think are going to benefit from playing high possession football? He wants to keep the ball at all costs, right? That's his basic MO. He does it in a very creative and weird way. As I say, there's going to be some people that are going to enjoy it, other people that are going to hate it. What do you see as the formation that he's going to play, guys? What do you see as the players that are going to struggle?
What I'm petrified about is when he tries to play out from the back and you've got Vicario trying to like kick a football around.
The first players that are going to benefit is Sunderland at the weekend, isn't it?
A good shout.
Possibly. Do you think Pedro Porro is going to be a beneficiary of this system? I think so.
Yeah. I think Porro, Udogie, possibly Spence, those sort of players, and then Kulu when he gets back, if he's here next season. The attacking players will sort of benefit. You kind of do wonder more. I wonder more. Are we going to keep Paulinho then and people like that? That's the ones. Bissouma, obviously, he just needs to go anyway. But I think the attacking players should certainly be licking the lips.
Yeah, but okay, who's going to struggle? Richalison. I think Richalison is, if his first touch deserts him, like it has done for most part of his time at Tottenham. I think De Zerbi's not going to rate Richalison at all, which is a bit of a conflict for me because Richarlison's a sort of character that you probably want in a relegation battle. But I just think De Zerbi's going to watch him on the training ground and go, "Hey, no, this guy, go take a shower. Go take a shower. You're not for me. You don't know how to trap a ball. This is a De Zerbi. What are we doing here?" I think he's a problem. I think he's going to struggle. I don't know.
I don't think any of our strikers are going to really suit him, though, are they?
I think Solanke might.
I think Solanke might be perfect for him. Hang
on a second. What about the Frenchman, Moani? Bearing in mind that he's actually technically adept.
Yeah. I think was it under De Zerbi that Brighton changed their goalkeeper? Almost game by game. He went Steele. Was it under De Zerbi?
I think so.
That they did that, and I think that's look, goalkeeper's a massively interesting take that we're not really talking about, isn't it? You know, he's gonna bring. He's got Kinsky or Austin. He's got a goalkeeper who apparently, whether it was a parody account or not, told Tudor, see ya. You know, after he'd left. But in his first game, Kinsky, we were all loving Kinsky in his first game. You remember that first game? I can't remember who it was against. And he was actually, you know, he was kicking the ball. We were like, somebody can kick the ball. And then they tried to train it out of him. So, you know, maybe he will be one of the biggest beneficiaries of De Zerbi. De Zerbi will come in and will go, do you know what, mate? You can kick the ball if you want. You can play it, but if you want to kick it, if you want to hit those diagonals, you go for it. You know, heaven knows. Ultimately, all of our players should be beneficiaries of the fact that we're getting more players back. So if Kudus is back, if we can get Tel, you know, like you say, Sean, if we can get Tel on one side and Kudus on the other in a double threat, get Paulinho in that 6 as a pivot, and actually start playing rational football, then everyone will be a winner. I've got to head. I'll speak to you later, guys.
Cheers, Rain. Take care.
See you later, Rain.
Bye, Rain.
According to Tom Allnott, Tottenham players were out for dinner last night and were hello pretty cat. What's the cat's name?
Archie.
Hi, Archie.
Yeah, but didn't he post a picture of the Igor Tudor dinner for it?
Yeah. That looked entirely like it was a segregation going on in that one there, Hugo, wasn't it? It was the,
yeah, but I mean that's the picture he used, and then he said, "Well, then Spurs players were out for dinner last night." It's like, well, how about a picture of last night's dinner?
Oh, he used the same picture, did he?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay, interesting. What does Archie think, Kate?
Archie thinks that he asked me if it's too late for him to change his team, which is something I ask myself every day. But being that he's not a year old, I've told him that he's welcome to change his team if he wants.
He wants out, does he? He wants out. He wants a relegation. He wants a relegation release clause from the Kate and Jimbo.
His stripes is what is he? Brentford.
You know what? My son, he's in Romania at the minute with his girlfriend, but he's 20 this year. And obviously, with me and Jim being so diehard Spurs, we just automatically assumed that he would love football, and he was in Spurs kits, you know, as soon as he come out of hospital. He doesn't like football. He watches Tottenham occasionally, but all he ever says to me is, "Mum, do I have to support Tottenham? They're so rubbish." And I'm like, "Yeah, you do. You literally don't have a choice." He's like, "Couldn't you have picked Man City or someone?" And I was like, "No, you're stuck with it." But what I was going to say is I think Xavi Simons could really benefit from De Zerbi.
Oh, Xavi Simons is going to love it.
The free run in the 10 role, he's going to really benefit from it. So, yeah, but and I think Solanke with his pressing, his hold-up play as well, maybe will benefit. I just want it to be announced. I mean, Sky Italy is saying it's done, but
it's going to be interesting to see how
Solanke's fit. He's looked way off it the last several games. Last 2-3 games, Solanke I don't think has looked sharp at all.
I think Romero's going to be the big one for him, though, isn't he? That playing out from the back type player. I think Romero and Van der Ven could, assuming they're both here next season, whether they are or not, but under De Zerbi, I think them two could really flourish because they're the sort of players that like to run forward and blah blah blah. And I you know, that to me suits his system.
But it all depends if they don't bury each other on the training ground.
Yeah.
So is this the likely? Do you agree then that this would be the likely best fit for Tottenham in terms of ball play? I mean, you might even want to swap him out for Kinsky or something. But ultimately, Porro's a beneficiary. Romero's a good ball player. Probably Micky van der Ven. So you'd imagine Kevin Danso goes back to the bench. That if he likes balance, which I think he does, he likes Destiny Udogie. If you're going to pick ball playing centre mids, you're not going to have Pape Sarr. You're not going to have Bissouma. You're not going to have Paulinho. Are you going to have these two? And if so, is that defensive enough? Don't know. Xavi Simons is a beneficiary of it. Solanke's a beneficiary of it. and then Kudus and Tel. Is that the 11 that you think that we'll see from De Zerbi, if all being fit, all being well?
My question is whether there be some sort of space whereby you'd put Paulinho in front of your back four as like a kind of in that kind of old school, like as Pochettino had for Eric Dyer, you know, just a kind of like sweeper, that kind of role.
Yeah, so him there, but he hit me again. The midfield is a massive problem for me because like none of them are particularly good with the ball at their feet. Archie Gray's probably better than most, but he's got what he excels at, or what he's good at with the ball. I'm not sure he's got the strength or the gusto to be able to play in that sort of dual double pivot thing.
But then Gallagher's not that robust either, is he?
Well, no,
I think he goes for. I think he goes for Graham Berghvall in the midfield. I think he goes all out midfield.
Graham Berghvall.
So
that would be that would be Bonnie Blue all day long.
That's what I think he's going to do.
You might have Berghvall in there. You might have Berghvall
saying like the defensively, we are horrendous. You've got to have someone in there to like cover them somehow. Like they ship goals.
You say that. The reason our defence has been so poor is because our midfield has been so weak. But also
strengthen up your midfield, Udogie and Porro can't defend for their lives.
Well, no, but if you strengthen up that midfield a little bit, and it covers the defence a little bit more. So, I would wonder whether Paulinho plays the proper number 6 play, and either Berghvall or Gray plays a little bit more forward with Simmons.
So more like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I still think it's a massive fucking problem in our midfield.
Yeah, there's no doubt. I mean, he's got to try and work out how to get that.
I think Conor Gallagher will be a De Zerbi type of player. I genuinely do.
I hope so, mate. I mean, honestly, I'd probably play Gallagher instead of Berghvall.
Yeah, I don't know about Paulinho. I don't know. Paulinho is very good at what he does. I think Paulinho will be a bench player. I think Paulinho will come off the bench to tidy things up if we're still in games. This guy's going to 100%.
I think you've got.
Me too.
I just think you've got to have. There's got to be some sort of like midfield. Bearing in mind that where we are now is we've got to make ourselves more difficult to beat.
Or will it be something like that though? Will it be something like this? Just a flat 3 and then be someone like, where is he? Where's my man? Something like that with a slightly more stable 3, but Gallagher has the license to move forward.
Well,
I don't know.
Yeah,
honestly don't know.
You can't have Xavi on the bench with De Zerbi as your coach, surely.
I haven't got Xavi. He's over here.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, but on the left. You want to play him on the left?
I don't want to play him on the left. I want to play him there, right? But right. I'm just saying, like De Zerbi for me, I'd be very surprised if he sees Paulinho as his guy for possession-based football.
Agreed.
And those 3, and like if you bring Xavi Simons in here and you put Mathys Tel out there, I like Mathys. You know, I like Mathys Tel, but I just think that midfield will get walked through by Sunderland.
Yeah, I do.
By Granit Xhaka and the rest of them. So,
you think the problem in there is, like you say, Xavi Simons, as much as I think he'll have a big role under De Zerbi, I wonder whether he'll play him straight away. I think it might be a case of he goes in and tries to be absolutely solid in midfield and bring Simons and that on later just to open the game up a little bit. Because we know Simons, Xavi is that luxury player that we've got at the moment, and can we afford to play him?
I don't know. Honestly, don't know. I'm excited though. It's going to be chaos. It's going to be absolute chaos. Let me quickly go to super chat from.
I just think you've got to have a tackler.
Yeah, look, you might have Polino in there. I don't mind it if Polino is in there. I'm just saying that I think that it's not going to suit because De Zerbi wants to have a destroyer, but he likes to have people that can pass the ball, and Polino is not really that guy, is he?
No,
he's a get it and give it. But De Zerbi wants to play such possession football that everybody needs to be able to pass, and that you can't just have a guy that gets it and gives it. You have to have a guy that gets it and can spray it. And I don't think Polino's. I don't think he's like maybe.
No, I agree. I don't think he has that in his locker either. But
maybe that's the way they'll go though. Rex 003, big up to you, member for 26 months. Thank you very much for the loyalty, Rex. Appreciate you. Have you changed your name? Very loyal though. He says opinions are like arseholes. Everyone has one. 100%.
Do you think that do you think Bissouma gets any game time under De Zerbi?
No. I'd be very surprised.
I suppose it's one of those that I never thought you'd really see him playing again, and then obviously Frank and Tudor play him a little bit, but the guy needs to go out the club. He really needs to just be sold. And
does he have any value? Do you think he'll be worth, like they can sell him for anything?
Well, no, but
he's out of contract. He's out of contract.
Well, it's done.
Yeah. The thing is with him, the last few games he's played, he has looked half decent, and he does run a little bit. So maybe he will be given a chance. But I just think now it's not necessary. I know De Zerbi probably won't do it this way, but now's not the time to, be playing flair football or anything. It's now his knuckles to the ground and just get a win somehow. That first win is so important for us. We've got to pick up 3 points soon, because if we don't, the longer it's left, it's going to be more of a disaster.
Yeah, Sean. Let's look at the actual for Sunderland next, right? So we've got is Xhaka fit now?
Yep.
All right. Well, how the hell are you going to shut him down? He's the one that pulls the strings and the. That's
the thing. The usual answer would be you bypass the midfield, right? You just go direct into the channel. Think about how we circumvented Paris Saint-Germain in the Super Cup.
Yeah.
Right. We just launched it up to Kudus and Richalison, and we pivoted off of that. And it worked for 75, 80, 85 minutes. But that's not how De Zerbi's going to play, mate. De Zerbi's someone who wants the ball as much as possible. We're going to be going back to trying to do 65, 70% possession. In order to do that, you need midfielders who can get the ball.
Well, you need technical ability, right? You've got to have it's a fairly similar sort of Xavi Hernandez sort of style, right? It's
different style of football, but essentially possession based. 100%. Yeah. It's Ange Postecoglou. It's Ange ball with a little bit more discipline and certainly more wacky, creative patterns. The patterns. Listen, if he gets it ticking, you're going to see some of the most enjoyable football that you've seen, because in patterns it is fucking phenomenal.
Yeah.
But it's a big, giant, fat fucking if. Yeah. A huge fucking if.
Yeah.
The biggest joke about it all is
he loses as many as he wins because he hasn't had a team.
The biggest joke is, why didn't we get him in sooner and give him an actual chance with the team?
He didn't want to come. He didn't want to come, mate.
This time, but obviously there's some reason he's come. So
money, baby. Money.
So why not chuck it at him before? You bring a manager like this in. The biggest joke is, he said if we're relegated, he's going to go. So you should have just chucked everything. If he is the guy you wanted, we should have just chucked everything at him to get him here.
Yeah, but Soren, you know who our owners are, right? Like, if they've got the option of trying to do
we've done it now
and survive, if they could have survived, if we could have stayed in the Premier League, for a can of Coke and a bag of skips, that would have been the preferable route for them, right? Which is probably why they went for your Igor Tudor, because he wasn't going to be turbo expensive, right? But that's not where they went. And then they realized, obviously, that, the can of Coke and a bag of skips wasn't turning out too well. So they had to give it another, they had to roll the dice, except that at this juncture, having effectively got to the point where they're that desperate, they don't have the luxury of being able to negotiate really for anything that's cheaper. So they've got.
Do you think that have rolled the dice had he not had the death in the family?
Yeah, no, the guy was going to be sacked anyway.
I don't know whether they would have done.
I think it was a very fortuitous, disastrous set of circumstances.
Yeah,
like,
I think
the club took advantage of a disaster.
Yeah, I think it fell into their laps with it, because I don't think they'd have. I think he would have still been the manager now had that not happened.
Yeah. Not well. I don't know about that, but like I would certainly think that the situation would has become a little bit more favourable in terms of allowing it to look like it was a mutual consent rather than something else. Although the departure email wasn't because of his father's passing. We've decided to allow him to spend time and grieve. It was we've decided to part company with, and by the way, also we want to send out best wishes. So the way that the email, way that the communication was written, it didn't come across like they were taking advantage of the situation and suggesting that that was the precursor to the decision. They sort of just put it as an afterthought, saying, by the way, we also send out our best wishes, you know. So I think maybe Soren on that basis, I would suggest that they were going to sack him anyway.
But when have we ever put anything out there that's actually done right?
Well, yeah, we've got a new communications chief, haven't we? Another Arsenal person. I wanted to ask you guys. In fact, there's something out from Chris Cowlin. What's he got? What's he got for us? Let's have a look. Chris Cowlin. Chris Cowlin got 200,000 followers. Chris Cowlin on Twitter. Wow. He says. At the end of the 2022-23 season, Roberto De Zerbi guided Brighton to 6th spot in the Premier League, finishing in a Europa League spot. He said, "We don't need too many players, but my idea is to compete in 4 competitions, hopefully the Europa League, Premier League, FA Cup and Carabao Cup. It will be tougher for sure, and I think we might lose some big players who deserve to go on to other targets and other teams. But we will bring in other big players and arrive ready to compete in 4 competitions. We will play to win, to show our quality and our style in every competition, and we can't lose our DNA. In Europe, if we play against big teams, we won't forget our style."
Sounds like a Tottenham statement.
It does, doesn't it?
Let's compete on four sides. Tell Jimbo the quad's back on.
You know what? I would love to be a fly on the wall, right? Let's just suppose De Zerbi does come in and let's suppose he does keep us up. I would love to be a fly on the wall when he has that meeting and puts his demands of what he wants. I would love to be in that boardroom and see their faces, because it will be cinematic, I believe. Absolutely cinematic.
I mean, do you not think it's just Conte Mark II? That you've got a talented manager but the wrong club, because we're never going to back them type of managers the way they need to be backed to bring the success to the club. And I just see it ending in a similar type of rant, one after a loss one day, that you know that the club hasn't backed him the way he wanted, and blah blah blah, and there's no winning mentality within the club. And you just see it as though we've gone back 5 or 6 years and we're just rolling again.
Yeah. I hear you, mate. Adam Gill says we need to get Gallagher in the 10. He's much more of a goal threat and can press from the front. Xavi in the 10 is a luxury we can't afford right now. I don't know. I tend to think that we have to play him, Adam. I just think that he's obviously miserable git. He's a miserable git, right? But under a new manager that he respects, that's going to play better possession football, you might just see him become like a butterfly. He comes out of the cocoon into a butterfly for us, as to use an analogy.
Depends if it's your cocoon and you're holding it, Sean.
Yeah, I don't know. I like Conor Gallagher as well. I do rate Conor Gallagher the player. And I've always actually thought he's better as a 10 when he played for his best form ever for me was when he was at Palace playing in the 10. I thought he was great when he was 21. But I think he could do that from an 8 position. But I just think he has to have the license to get on the ball. For me, I think that we've got enough players that can do, if they're all on their game. I think we've got enough players that can do that will improve under De Zerbi's style, apart from our midfield. And unfortunately, the midfield is the most important thing for a possession-based team, and that to me is a concern. So once again, the priority in the summer, in a world where we stay up, the priority in the summer is that you sell a Pape Sarr and you sell a Bentancur, you sell Bissouma, or you get rid of Bissouma.
Well, he's gone anyway, right?
Maybe Palhinha doesn't get made permanent. Maybe he does, whatever else. But if you've got a spot in the team, the unbelievable priority for Tottenham Hotspur in the summer, if this is the way we're going, is to get a ball-playing centre midfielder. Like anything else is secondary behind that to me.
Do you think, Shawnee, that Maddison's sitting there looking at the potential signing of De Zerbi, thinking, I want to get back and play under this guy? Or not?
Yeah, I mean, look. I mean, De Zerbi's probably. De Zerbi. Maddison's probably sitting there going, "Come on, this is get the knee going." But do you guys think that you're going to see Maddison before the end of the season? And don't forget,
Kulusevski. What about him?
And Kulu. But Johnny always calls Maddison 33 and a third, right? Because that's what Leicester players used to call him. That he's injured for a year, he's getting back to his best for a year, and then he's good for a third of the season, and then he's decent for a third of the season until he gets injured again. So even if you see Maddison back, it's not like he's going to come into the team and be extraordinarily good. And also, where do you play him? If you have De Zerbi, if De Zerbi comes in fact, let's play the game. Right? If you have De Zerbi coming in tomorrow and you have a fully fit strength team, a full team that's fully fit, what does it look like? What's your starting 11? Kudus on the right. Do you play? Is it Maddison that sits in here?
Yeah, got to be. I think.
Yeah, it is for me.
Where's Maddison on this list?
He's been out that long. They took him off the list.
They might have done. They actually might. No, there he is. Yeah. So is it something like this? Is it something like? Oh, the fuck! I just done. Is it something like that and Maddison here? Like I don't even know. And is it like a 4-2-2-2?
I think if we're talking about the future, then you're probably looking at somebody different on the left. Unless David plays left and Maddison down the middle.
What about Kulusevski? Someone else who just joined the chat. Who's just joined the chat? Hayden's here. Hello, Hayden. How you doing, mate? Good to see you.
All right, mate. How are you?
I'm all right, buddy. I'm all right. We're just trying to figure out full team, full squad, no injuries. What are we doing?
Then you got Kulu as well.
Are you talking no injuries at all?
No injuries at all. Under De Zerbi style of football.
Right. Well, it'll be 2 number 10s to start with. Yeah. And then I think it will look like a Christmas tree. So you need there you go.
That's it.
And then who you got? You've got Palhinha, Gray, Gallagher. I think that could be right, to be fair.
Palhinha's probably not going to be here next season, though, is he?
Then Richie up top. Right, sorry, yeah. Are we talking at the moment or next season?
Right now. If everyone's fit, right now.
I'd say Richie's going to start. I'll say Richie's going to start, to be honest. Only because he's shown a bit more fight, and Solanke, although we know, like, technically he's better, he's been pretty anonymous since he's come back.
Or do you do something like this? Do you do that and then and then somehow shoehorn Maddison in? I don't know. I've got no idea. Is that how you do it?
I am a bit scared that Kulu's never going to play football again.
He says he's back. He says he's ready to go.
I don't know.
Honestly, you're not going to have a team where this guy, where Simmons, Kulusevski, and Maddison are all in the same team, are you?
No.
But that's the beauty of it. Like, if we can rotate those 3, so it's almost like 2 on, 1 off, and then you rotate the one that's played the last 2 games with the other one, and then so on. So it's like a rotation where everyone plays 2 back-to-back games. You've got a rotation of those 3. Then that provides, keeps players fresh. Plus, they're all very different. Kulu's a runner. Madders is a creative passer, and Simmons is a bit more sort of dribbly.
You might see that. You could see Simmons playing off the left, Maddison in the 10, Kudus off the right, couldn't you? You could see that.
I mean, a lot of people chat saying Maddison's done, but I mean, I don't know if anyone's seen his his YouTube channel. He's done a 40-minute video. He looks super fit. I know, obviously, I'm not a doctor by any means. I had a good look at his leg on the video, and I watched his movement, and he looks like he's coming back. I wouldn't be surprised if we see him for the end of the season, Maddison.
Yeah, I think we could see him the start of May.
Yeah.
But
thing is, though, even if he plays at the start of May, it's going to take him that long to get back up to running. Then it's kind of pointless, isn't it?
It's almost, for me, it's like if we're safe at the start of May. So say like if we're safe by the Leeds game, don't even play Maddison until the next season because it's just not worth the risk.
Yeah,
like,
that's
if we're safe, don't even risk him because what's the point? Just give him the extra. Bring him on. Yeah,
you probably bring him on for like 10-15 minutes at the end of a game, a couple of games, just to put him in there. But yeah, I agree. I don't see the point if we're okay in bringing Maddison on for the sake of risking him getting injured again and out next season.
Yeah, it's almost like if we're safe going into the Everton game, just play him for the last 10 minutes, just as like a welcome back sort of thing. I mean, just so, yeah.
Even if we're not safe, maybe just if we're drawing or something like that, and you just want to go for the win in the last 10-15 minutes, bring him on. But yeah, I don't think you're risking for full games at the moment. No. I think he's unless unless it's a case of we're going to look and he's not in the plans for next season, then makes a difference then.
Just out of curiosity, right? Where's the weakness in that team?
Bentancur.
Oh, if you put Conor Gallagher in there, okay, like I could create a second team right now.
Conor Gallagher.
Yeah, so you need a better midfielder, ball playing midfielder. You definitely need a better striker and a better goalkeeper for sure, right? But like, if that's a fully fit squad, it's not the 17th worst team in the game, is it, or 18th worst team in the Premier League?
No. It's not. But Udogie is
the right manager
injured, so I'd upgrade. I'd definitely upgrade Udogie because he's always injured. I don't know who with.
Say Robinson.
Who's that guy? Who's that guy at Leverkusen? Is it Nathaniel Brown? Is that him?
Yeah, Nathaniel Brown. Yeah, he's a cracking player. Yeah.
But
or Anthony Robinson from Fulham, just for example.
Yeah, right? But would they come to us? Probably not.
You would have changed him for.
Looking at that, would you not play maybe Spence instead of Udogie? Because I think Spencer's been quite good on left.
I don't rate him.
Yeah, I don't rate him.
No.
I think you need a left-footed player on the left back, and that sounds so old school, but I think it provides that width on the outside, and they can sort of take on their man from the outside. I think the problem with Spence is he's looked okay there in certain games, but when he has to cut in all the time, it just disrupts that whole side of the pitch. Like when Odegaard was over there, Odegaard would make those runs on the wide left, and then Spence would then cut into the middle of the pitch, and then Odegaard would just be essentially removed from the game for that play anyway. So it's tricky. It's tricky to know what to do.
I don't think our squad. I think our squad is four injury-free top players in certain positions away from being a very good team. We haven't built a squad. People make out because of the situation we're in, because of the situation the squad's in, that we've got a fucking horrendous squad. We really don't. We've got a lot of potential talent. We've got just a little bit of imbalance, and we've got a horrendous amount of injuries, and we haven't got the right horse for the right course.
You've also got a bad culture in that squad. You've got a couple of rotten apples that need to be gone and replaced.
So if you were to replace Romero with him, and
bring Vuskovic back,
or him, right? You've got balance there. You've got unbelievable balance in the back line. Robinson, Locatelli, and the striker's a problem. I put Franklino in, but I don't even know. There's just fucking a massive dearth of top players, right? Top strikers. There's no good talent on the market. But that team is capable of wonderful things. If they,
I still think Porro needs to be replaced.
Yeah, so do I.
Yeah, with who?
And Vic.
Hang on a sec, Sean. You say about there's a dearth of top strikers. You look at what Bournemouth. Yeah, but hang on. You look at what Bournemouth have brought in, that Brazilian lad. You look at Brentford with what's his name? Help me out here up front.
Who? Sorry.
Season?
Who?
With
Brentford.
with Thiago.
Igor Thiago.
Yeah.
I put him in there. Yeah.
I'm just saying, all the Brentford, the Bournemouth lad, Brazilian kid. I'm just saying, they do exist. The problem that we have is just that our scouting is abysmal.
We need basically near enough a whole new 11, Sean.
We don't really.
Yeah, but you're looking there, Sean. You've already replaced 6 players, and you've still got bloody Vicario in the nets.
Exactly, we do.
So we go and get. Who's the geezer from AC Milan? What's the guy's name from AC Milan?
Mannion.
Mike Mannion. Yeah. Okay.
I can't see an AC Milan player coming to us.
No, can I? I love this world that Sean is living in.
No, we're playing Football Manager. But I'm saying if you sell Micky van der Ven for 85, 90 million, you sell Romero for 50, it's 140 quid. You could go and get Branthwaite for 70, and you haven't even got to get him, right? He's out of contract next season, by the way. But you could also go and get Senesi on a free transfer.
Are you assuming Vuskovic ain't going to play for us then?
No, I'm saying Vuskovic can come back as well, but he'd be a squad member, right? He's 19 years old, so he'd be a squad player. But
I would say he's good enough to play for us.
You could sell. That's absolutely fine with me. That's fine, whatever. But you still need a second player anyway behind it. But you could sell Pedro Porro and replace him with Coyote. You could sell Jed Spence. Robinson's is getting on a little bit, but there's not a huge amount of outlay to replace the players that you have. There's a lot of transfer, a lot of ins and outs, but that's going to be needed anyway.
Yeah,
you've got to remember, Shawnee, without
I'm fully aware that I'm playing Football Manager here. I'm fully
without shitting on your parade. We are absolutely atrociously bad at selling players.
Sure,
basically, I've replaced 9 players on the team, and you're saying that's unrealistic, Kate. Is that what you're saying?
Kate, come on, you've got. I
want to be saying get Ronaldinho left wing next. Right back.
I'll be happy with Jan Diomande. I'll be more than happy with him for 110 million. Thanks very much. See you later. Or even if it's Savinho, right?
Come on, we've got Lange at the wheel. It'll just be, seamless. It will just be, players going out for fun, top talent rolling in, Mackenzie scouting, doing what he does. Loves that, does Mackenzie. Yeah, I can see all of this being highly unlikely.
Just a quick question then. Are we wanting to sell Romero and Van der Ven, or are we assuming they're going anyway? Or would we keep them if they wanted to stay?
You've got to get rid, I think. They've already
Romero and Van der Ven.
I think you have to sell both.
I'm saying you could sell. You could sell 100%. In my opinion, you could sell Van der Ven, Romero, and Pedro Porro, and with the money, you could replace that entire backline.
Yeah, but
this is on a free transfer. Branthwaite's going to cost you a lot of money. Robinson's going to cost you probably 30 million quid, and Coyote's probably going to cost you 35 million quid. Although I don't know, Coyote's long throw thing. That might be like a moment in time because they're going to change the rule. They've already changed the rules at the World Cup. They're probably going to change the rules of the Premier League around how long you've got to throw the ball in and shit. But I rate Coyote.
Do you think competition of a training ground between Coyote, Danzo, and Berghvall?
And Dragusin, yeah, they've all got fucking degrees of shit long throws. But for me, I actually think that the fullbacks at Tottenham or anywhere, fullbacks are the hardest positions to find the replacements for because you need specific fullbacks for specific managerial tendencies. And as soon as you change your manager, if your manager pivots in a different direction, then your fullback can go from perfect and a value add to a dilutive asset. And I think Porro, for me, is a player that has so much value to the right team, but we've changed our manager so many fucking times since we signed him. Like he came in and Conte was only around for 2 months when we signed him, and we signed him for Conte's system, and he never played as a right wing back ever again. But to the right team, Porro's worth 50 million quid in my opinion.
Yeah, I think he probably needs a change of scene, doesn't he? He's been through so many managerial changes, so many different styles. Like, just let the poor lad go to a change of scene, do whatever and bring in some other, the next sacrificial lamb. I'm just kind of just let the poor guy go, man.
But fullbacks for me are the most difficult players to pick in a team. Everyone knows that a decent ball playing midfielder, like a Locatelli, would fit into any system, or not in any system where you need that sort of player, or the guy Heung Min from Sporting. Right, who's like a 6 that can get on the ball and drive forward, but he can also spray and distribute the pass as a sprayer. Like those sorts of people, like it does. Like 80% of managers could work with those sorts of players, but fullbacks are very, very specific. Like Robinson would not do as well playing Robinson and Tete at Fulham. Or what's his name? Castagna, the right back who used to be at Leicester, who plays for Fulham as well. They have spent years playing the Marco Silva model of football, which is so dependent on really extreme fullback width. But you put Robinson in an Ange Postecoglou system who wants to invert the fullback, and the guy goes from a fucking value, an asset, to a fucking dilutive nightmare. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. I think though that Porro won't be sold purely for the fact that if De Zerbi is still with us next year, if we stay up, I mean, I don't know if you guys have already spoken about that tweet from that Krish matey, but he's obviously got a relegation clause in there. I don't think De Zerbi or Poch will like Spence.
I agree with that.
So I think they'll keep Porro purely for the fact that they'll get rid of Spence, which then means, you've obviously got to get another right back, but then I think it'll be like a versatile right and left back. Do you remember, obviously, it's not him, but do you remember when Leicester had Castagna that could cover both sides, and he was okay for a season, 4 or 5 years ago?
Ridiculously, he's now at Fulham. He got injured. He did his ACL, I think it was. He was a cracking player at Leicester during that Premier
exactly.
League.
So I think it could be someone like that, but obviously someone better and someone younger that would come in instead of Spence, because they probably value Spence's versatility on both sides.
Here's a controversial thing. Would you, seeing as Burnley are going to get relegated, what about Kyle Walker on the bench?
No.
So say that again, Hugo.
Burnley are about to get relegated. As a backup right back, Kyle Walker.
We've had the Romero. Here we go, by the way. Sorry to interrupt.
It's done, is it?
It's done.
Done.
Oh, there we go. Bong.
Bong! Got to change the title quick. Quick, change the title of the show.
Chop, chop.
There we go.
I put these on special for the announcement. Look, my De Zebra pants. Because Danny Kiriakou is calling him De Zebra. So I had my zebra pants on ready. But here we go.
I love a bit of a here we go. Quickly, fucking change the title, change the thumbnail. Everyone's going to pile in.
Get on it.
Does anybody see the young left back that we've just signed playing much? Souza?
No, not yet.
Nah. I reckon he'll be loaned out to the Championship next season.
Well, he might be playing in the Championship next season. So.
Or that. Yeah. If we're in the Championship, he'll be loaned out to League One.
We loan him to a Premier team instead.
Yeah, bloody hell.
All right, let me update that. Make it all fucking look like it's relevant and real, even though we've been going for 3.5 hours. Love to see it. Yeah, look, I mean, De Zerbi. When's his first press conference going to take place? Is he going to have an introductory press conference, or do we wait until the Sunderland pre-match presser next Saturday, next Friday?
No, he'll do one before then. Surely he won't keep us hanging on.
He'll probably do one tomorrow. We'll probably see some snippets today if they announce it tonight. But I think we'll get a proper press
I do very much like the picture that they've used for the Here We Go. He looks very like a mafia boss, is the only way I can describe it. He looks very dapper indeed. There we go. I've just shared the screen. I'm sure you've got it, Shawnee, but he does look very, very dapper.
Oh, this on the screen. Okay, this one here.
Look at that.
Oh, look at that. Look at that.
He means business.
Hey, is it tight? Can I get the thing going?
Hey, I've been walking in the wind.
Can I get where's my thing? Can I get it going? Not working. I need to get my camera. I need to get my fucking camera going. Did you get the? Hey, hello, it's me, Roberto De Zerbi. Here we go.
Oh dear.
Does he even talk like that, or is it just a generic Italian accent?
It's a massively generic, massively Italian. Not even Italian. What are we doing here? We're gonna get it up. We're gonna get it up.
It's not quite.
Sometimes since that's happened, Sean, for you.
Yeah, can you get it up?
Hey! Can I get it up? Pause. What are we doing here? Is it on the screen? Am I on the screen? Hey, it's me! It's me, Roberto De Zerbi. Is it working or is it a little bit? It's a little bit slow.
No,
Isn't it? A little bit stuttery. I
Gary Neville.
I want to come to the Tottenham. They have paid me too much money. They said, hey, Roberto, we give you what you want. We give you everything you need. We give you 10 million, 12 million pounds. And I say, hey, I want a lot more than that. I want guarantees around. I want to know exactly who I'm working with. I don't want a Pape Sarr. A Pape don't matter, Sarr. He don't matter to me. He don't matter to me. Lucas Berghvall, he not a player ready for me. This is the Zerbi ball. The Zerbi ball. What are we doing here? What are we saying, people? Are we happy or not? Are we happy or not? What are we doing?
Yes. Happy they haven't messed it up in the last minute. I just had a feeling we was going to all be talking about it and then it's going to come out that right at the last minute he's turned us down. So, yeah, I'm happy.
Are you happy, Hayden?
Not by the look of it.
No, not really, to be honest. I don't think he's going to be able to get his tactics in place with 7 games to go, which means that I personally believe he won't be here in the summer because we'll be relegated. I know everyone probably wants everyone to be really positive right now, but I just don't think he's going to be able to get it across that quickly. I saw a quote from an interview earlier from, I think it was Lewis Dunk, and basically said the first 3 weeks were absolute hell. So, yeah, take from that what you will.
Lewis Dunk said it was confusing and it wasn't great. But then Sandro said it was fantastic. It was absolutely fantastic. You know?
Which is the opposite of what we need. Obviously, we just need stability. I mean, personally, I've got issues with him as a person, but I'm sure you guys have already got into that. And yeah, the way that I'm viewing it is he'll be manager for 7 games. That'll be it.
Interesting.
And then he'll I think we'll go down, and then I think Poch will come to us regardless. And then we'll probably have the most insane season ever in the Championship, where we get to the playoff final and then we lose on penalties.
Someone just said that Poch is looking at a new contract in the USA. Is that true?
Yeah.
Wow.
What's that? What's true?
Poch, they're exploring a new contract for Poch in the USA.
Just because he's upset. He's upset. He feels like he's gone back to his ex, and his ex has said, "I love you, baby," but this guy over here's got like a slightly more. This guy over here knows how to push my buttons a little bit more. You know, he is the ex. He's the ex that just keeps going back. I love you, baby. Take me back. Nah, you're right. We're going to try another bird first. You know,
I could never say no to Pochettino. He's delicious.
Is he?
He is. He's gorgeous.
Hey, not like me. Not like a me.
Not
Not like a me, Kate. You don't like this. You don't like this Portuguese cock. No, not for you. No, okay. Hey, you cannot please everyone all the time.
I always imagined De Zerbi to be short as well. I don't know why. I don't know if he is short.
I think he is. Yeah.
Yeah. Listen,
Not so much because I'm tall.
I have 6 inches though, you know, and we all the same length for lying down, okay, you know.
That's the line Jimbo used.
That's how he got you there. Yeah, that's how he got you there.
I think
when he gave you 3 inches twice.
I'm not short. Someone said I look short. I'm 5'9.5". I used to be 5'11". So no, I'm definitely not short.
That's like Sesame Street almost.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the
only good thing with De Zerbi is the fact that we've actually signed him permanently. Because if it does work, then at least he's got time to start looking and planning for next season. But my thought was, I don't know if he's the right manager with only 7 games to go. Had we got him in sooner, I think it'd have been fine. I just think 7 games to go. He's got to get his philosophy over, and he's probably not going to change his philosophy, and it's too late. I think we should have had him in when we got Tudor. But I've got to praise the fact that we have signed him on a permanent. But if the clause where he can go if we are relegated, I think the fact that that's already out and the players will know that. You look at it again and you just think, what an absolute cock up by the club to let that type of information slip.
Soren, if you say, I'm not sure he's the right guy to keep us out, obviously no one's ever been in this position before where they've only got 7 games and they're a new manager. Who would you have picked?
Do you know, I mean, I really don't know at this stage. I mean, if we can chuck everything at him, and again, he's not going to come, but I would have had a Sean Dyche if we were just looking at 7 games. But I just think it's not the case that we've got the wrong manager now. I think we've got the manager, but at the wrong time. We should have got the right manager when we got Tudor in. And we were saying this with the Irish lads, that when Frank went, the board had to get the right manager, and they didn't. And that's the problem now, that 7 games to go, and you bring in a manager that has a philosophy and a way of playing that he sticks to religiously. You don't bring him in with 7 games to go. It doesn't make sense. And when you look at our players who they can get themselves motivated for the big teams and play well against the bigger teams, but against the teams that we now have to go and beat, which are around us, your Leeds and Sunderland this weekend, I don't know if De Zerbi coming in now and trying to get his philosophy into these players and play, and when these players are on the absolute floor with confidence and everything else, I just don't know if De Zerbi is the right person. Now, we talk about when he went into, Brighton or Brentford, whichever team it was. Now, I think the problem back then was his English wasn't great, so he had to have an interpreter. Whereas now, apparently, his English is better, so hopefully it comes across a lot easier. But I don't know. I just don't know. I don't know if there's a right manager with only 7 games to go to come into Tottenham to save us. I think
I'm excited by it. I'm excited
by it for long term.
It's going to be fucking fun. Sorry, we're either going down or we're not. Would you rather go down swinging from the fucking from the breaches with haymakers galore? Would you rather go down with an absolute firebomb, or would you rather go down with a meek, like ridiculous whimper? Like, we were going down with a whimper. We were going down without a fight with Tudor. We were definitely doing that with Thomas Frank. With this geezer coming in, it's going to be fireworks. It's going to be fun. The press conferences are going to be fucking explosive. The post-match presses are going to be delightful. There's going to be fight. There's going to be arguments. There's going to be tantrum. There's going to be tears. And if there's 9 points, if there's 9 points along the way and Tottenham stay up, all we've got to do is outbeat This is the message. All we got to do is outperform West fucking Ham. And when was the last time Tottenham ever failed to do that?
No, don't say that, mate.
Oh,
what have you done?
The thing is, John.
Listen, Hugo. There's one thing I know for sure, mate. That if the fucking universe is listening to me, right, they ain't listening very hard. Because I've been saying, if we're in a fucking, if we're in a simulation, right? If we're in a simulation where some alien in his mother's basement has picked me as his player, then do fucking better, bro. Do better.
Come on, mate. I came into your life. What the fuck?
No, I know. Listen, I need a fucking upgrade pack. I need someone to buy me the lottery pack.
You've already you got your AI on a new computer. What do you want, mate?
It's not enough, bro. It's not enough. It's not enough. I'm fat. I'm 42. I'm going bald. They couldn't even figure out the right team to make me support, right? My controller, with all due respect, bro, you're not pulling your fucking weight. So do better. He ain't listening to me. He ain't listening to me.
Add a bag of flour in the mix and see how you go.
That's what I'm fucking going to do tonight, bro. Ta.
Come on, you say go down fighting.
Talc or baby oil. Talc or baby oil.
You say go down fighting, but if he hasn't got his point across to these players and it just looks confusing, it ain't going to be going down fighting, is it? It's going to be going down.
Let's go down swinging, mate. Let's swing.
If the players don't get what he's trying to get, then it's just going to look misjointed. Look, I think long term.
We're going down anyway, Soren.
It's all we're not going down. Fire. What are we doing?
Look, long term, De Zerbi, or into next season, De Zerbi is the right manager to get in now. I agree. For 7 games ago, I agree totally. I just think the club have fucked up yet again with the management choices when they got Tudor in. That it was never going to work. This appointment now should have been 7 games ago.
Yeah, he didn't want to come.
If he didn't want to come, he's come now. You chuck the money in. We've had this argument.
So desperate that they've just, burst open the piggy bank because that was the only way they could get him in. It was exactly the same with Conte before. He refused to come, and then suddenly they made him I can't remember, it was like the highest paid or second highest paid manager in the league. And then suddenly, hey presto, here's freaking Antonio Conte. So if he doesn't want to come to the club, we've persuaded him. So why didn't we persuade him 7 games ago? That's the argument. Because they've always tried to do everything on the cheap, Soren. This ownership.
The point is, that's what I'm saying. The club fucked up once again. That's what I'm saying. They should have chucked everything at him back then.
Mate. I mean, fucking hell. It's any kind of decision. 9 times out of 10, it's going to be the wrong one with this board.
Exactly. But what I'm saying is, though, if they'd have done things right, they would have had them. If he was their man, you go and get him back then. You don't wait till it's too late.
Yeah, but the way that they wanted the cheap option to get survival so that then, they could go and get who they wanted at the start of next season.
We're saying the same thing. The club fucked up once again. It's the same argument, just a different route.
Yeah, it's just like, all they were trying to do is they always try and take the economical route until they find out that 9 times out of 10, you get what you pay for. And, oddly enough, it turned out to be a disaster.
Yeah. What else is the option, Soren? You're clearly not excited about De Zerbi. What did you want to happen?
No, Sean. I am excited about De Zerbi. I'm just saying, for me, the timing is fucked up as usual. So we should have got him in.
Okay, yeah, we should have, would have, could have. We are where we are. What did you want Tottenham to do right now? Stick with Tudor?
No.
Okay, so he's out.
Hang on a second. Just about the whole Tudor thing, you'll remember that Tudor was identified as Paratici's guy in November, was when they wanted to bring him in.
If you're going to make the argument about should have brought in such and such earlier, you could have also brought in Tudor earlier, but that would have been an even more bigger fucking shit show because he wasn't the guy, clearly.
Right.
And by the way, anybody that's backing Paratici, my boy Johnny, it's Sean. Johnny, are you listening? I told him about Paratici. Absolutely fantastic. No, Johnny, so wrong. Paratici fucked up wildly. Right? Paratici was wildly wrong on Igor Tudor. And maybe, just maybe, Thomas Frank was the better solution. I don't know. But you know what? We've gone from one shit show to the other. Soren, if De Zerbi wasn't the guy now, but we are where we are, who was the guy we should have got? Was it Harry? Was it Tim fucking Sherwood, that bozo? That absolute fucking idiot?
No.
Who was it?
I mean, the thing is, it's not a case of who we should have got now, because now he's too late. That's the problem. It's the board and the owners have just fucked this season up totally. We can go right back to when Frank was in charge. He should have gone 10 matches earlier at the very latest. We should have been looking back there, and we should have been getting the manager in. All this talk about interim managers is crap. The players don't. I mean, these players needed to know who was coming in, and it needed to be the right manager back then. And like I say, De Zerbi probably is the right manager at the wrong timing. And I don't know who the right manager is.
That's the thing, though, mate. That's the thing. That's the problem. Someone in the chat just said something. I'll bring in Hayden just now. Someone in the chat just said, I'm not going to bring it up, right? But all the people that have got a problem with fucking everything, they've learned. I've been saying it for ages. To all the people, all the negative, pessimistic, glass half empty, miserable fucking donuts out there that want to lean into, I was right, I'm right, I'm never wrong. You never have to make a decision if all you ever say is that the decision that the club made is wrong. I'm not saying this is you, Soren. I'm saying other people, right? If all you ever do is have a problem with the decisions that have been made, you're going to be right. If that's your MO, cool. And you're going to get thousands of people that give you a pat on the fucking back because they don't think about this from the actual logical perspective of how content creators work. Do you want to be right, or do you want to have a take? Because I don't hear any fucking solutions. I never hear any solutions. All I hear is problems. Never any fucking solutions.
John, you know I'm probably the most optimistic Spurs fan there is out there. You are. And I will back whatever manager, once he's through the door, I back whatever manager to the point of him gone. Doesn't mean to say I agree with the appointments or not. All I'm saying in this case is that De Zerbi is a great manager. I don't care, as Conte was. It's just sometimes it's the right manager at the wrong time, or the wrong time with the right manager, whichever way you want to look at it. I just think next season, if we're still in the Premiership, De Zerbi is 100% the manager that will hopefully take us forward. No doubt about it.
De Zerbi is as good as we could actually probably get.
And I agree with that. I just think.
To call him great.
Sorry, Hugo, 1 second. I think Kate's going to leave. Kate, you off?
I am going to leave, but before I leave, just to let you know, Semi Mockbell has said that there is no relegation clause in De Zerbi's contract at all.
Ooh.
Right, that's good news. Yeah.
I'm dropping the mic and then I'm leaving.
That bomber. Cheers, Kate. Love you, miss. See you soon, mate.
Love you too. Big love, everyone.
Over to Kate and Jimbo. Bye, Kate and Jimbo. Cheers, Kate. I'll plug your channel. Big up to Kate. That's a fucking fascinating turn of events. Not that Sammy Mockbell's ever right about anything.
Yeah, that makes a massive difference to what we're talking about, because obviously you're looking at it thinking, well, he's not going to be here next season if we do go down. Maybe he is, and maybe we do build for the future. Big difference in the argument now.
What's the argument now?
Well, now you've got a manager in. If he's staying, you've got a manager in to look for the future, rather than if we do get relegated, he's only here for 7 matches. Big difference.
Can you imagine him getting paid 12 million quid a year in the Championship?
That's what it takes, yeah.
Who knows if, like the rest of the players, though, there's like a clause in the thing that takes him down from 12 mil to 8 mil or whatever, Who knows?
What are you saying, Hayden?
With what? Just him signing?
No, I know you're typing away. I can hear you typing away. That's the tar on the keyboard. Are you? Does the fact that he's staying? It's okay. You can type. Is it the fact that he's staying if we go down, or potentially there's no relegation clause? Does that increase or decrease the likelihood of a smoke grenade, a giant bomber? The day we get relegated, he's like, "Fuck this! I'm gonna call this club out on May the 15th." If that clause doesn't exist in his contract, then what other clauses don't exist in his contract? Is he going to? Are we talking about 3 months, burn the house down, get yourself a 5-year payoff, or is he going to be our manager next year in the Championship?
Well, the first thing I'd say is I'd take that with a pinch of salt if they're saying that there isn't a relegation clause in there. I mean, if there isn't, yeah, I think you're right. I don't think the managers now get their full sort of payout when they sort of get sacked anyway. There's normally clauses in there. It's like you get X amount of the remaining of your years, etc. Because I think clubs now realise that they just keep getting stung by sacking managers. But yeah, I would be very, very surprised if there's not a relegation clause in there. Is he really going to go from managing Marseille, getting them finishing second last season, to managing Lincoln away like 18 months later? I just can't see it. I think there'll definitely be a relegation clause.
Apparently, it's been confirmed by Paul O'Keefe as well.
Really?
Apparently so.
Okay. Well, if there isn't, yeah, he's probably going to do exactly what you said. Then he's probably just going to wait for the right moment, say enough to get sacked, but not say enough for it be like a breach of contract, and then you'll probably see him walk off into the distance. I still think he'll only be manager for 7 games. I think that's just what's going to happen, regardless.
I think it makes a big difference though within the dressing room as well, because if they think he's only staying for 7 matches and we go down, it's the same as Tudor. You know, it's hard to get players playing for you like that. Whereas if they think he's here, I mean, I know, you know, we've discussed that players will be leaving and things like that, but it makes a big difference, I'd say, in the dressing room. If you've got a manager coming in that might not be leaving after 7 games, these players will be sat there thinking, well, we're actually playing for our future next season, and hopefully it gives them and us a bit more of a boost to actually stay up this season.
Yeah.
You know, it's like anything else. If you've got a manager coming in and he's telling you what you're going to do, and you're thinking, well, you're not here after 7 more games, you're not here. You know, you're going to leave. Then, do you really give him 100%?
Listen, I personally, I don't. On paper, if he doesn't have a relegation clause, again, it doesn't change my stance. I think that either way, it's one way or the other. This guy is like, this is a giant rolling of the all or nothing dice. It's like going to the well, taking everything you have out of it, and then sticking your entire life savings or red or black. Sorry to merge two different analogies there, right? But if it works, it's going to be great. If it does work, it's going to be great. He's a manager that I want to see Tottenham play the football style of, especially if the promises that were made to him to get him to sign the contract is in such a way where we can actually back it up. But if there's no relegation clause, then did he sacrifice that thing in the contract to also have no scenario whereby, I mean, I don't even know how you put that into a clause in the contract. If you are we going to call it the Conte clause? Are we going to call it the Conte? I don't know what we're going to call it, right? But the nuclear reaction clause, whereby if you call out the club, the disrespect clause, the disrepute clause, whatever, if you call out the club for broken promises, or you say things that make it untenable, but that's because of you calling things out, then are they smart enough to have put that in? And is De Zerbi smart enough to allow that to have been entered? Because there'll be people in there that are figuring out the ways around that, right? But like, I don't like, if we go down, I don't think we are going to go down anymore. I don't think we are, because I like the fact that there's no relegation clause in there, because it means that the players don't get to just fucking, like, you know, I said at the start of the show, right? Like, one way of getting around if the players just think, fuck it, I'm out of here if we get relegated. Well, there's one way of saying, one way of solving that, and that's to say you're gonna honor your contract and your 50% reduction. And also, there's the other the threat is, oh, well, the players aren't going to listen to him because if we go down, we haven't got to deal with him in the future. Well, you do, as long as De Zerbi is committed, and De Zerbi should be committed, because I'm sure he's getting paid a fucking fortune. So he's not going to get paid as much anywhere else he was going to go. He wasn't going to go to a top 4 team. He wasn't going to go to a City, a Liverpool, or anywhere else. This is probably the best paid job that he could get, and he's getting paid a fuck ton of money. So I hope that it's all on the level. We will see. But the lack of a relegation release clause for me, actually, you're right, Soren. it does change the narrative. And to me, it actually changes it to a positive, as long as the club have figured out a way to make sure that he can't just evoke the nuclear reaction button and then just say, I'm going to say something that's crazy and get myself out of this mess in 3 months' time. So if that's off the table, then I think these players will play for him.
So Sean, bearing in mind that there's been several news stories planted the last couple of weeks by the new comms gal, how do we know that there just aren't several mouthpieces that have just been, given this information to proliferate, so that in order to try and get the response they want out of the players?
Well, it could very well be, Hugo, but I think
I'm not complaining if that is the case. Yeah. He does have a whatever call. If at the end of the day he gets the we get the response we want out of the players. But I'm just saying, what people are saying and what reality is might be two different things. We've seen these stories planted the last few weeks where we don't necessarily think that they're quite as authentic as they might appear.
Hayden, I think you want to go. You've got to go, mate. Yeah, love you, man. Thanks for coming on, bro. Enjoy yourself, mate. Take care, buddy. Take care, bud. Listen, we're going to round off in a couple of seconds. I just want to get a final sort of stance from you, because to me, the biggest bomber of the day is not the fact that he's joined; it's the fact that if there's no relegation clause, I think that is a massive difference maker in the perception. I never got your. I don't want to get into it again, but just is the reason why you were, or however you feel about De Zerbi, is any of that influenced by any of the woke bollocks about the Mason Greenwood thing?
No, I've got my feelings on that, but it's not the De Zerbi side. It's the Greenwood side. The biggest factor that I wasn't as sure about De Zerbi is the fact of, like I say, it takes him a little while, to get his philosophy over. And are these players up for it? Thinking at the point if we go down, he was leaving. And he was adamant, and that was the adamant that he would go. The change now is the fact of, if he hasn't got that clause and he's going to stay, and he really is the manager that's going to take us into next season, wherever we are, I think it makes a massive difference to the way the players think, the way the club is thinking, and the way he's thinking. And my only the big positive thought behind it is, whereas like Hugo was saying, he doesn't want to come. And yes, that was the statement. He didn't want to come. He didn't want to play for this board. We don't back him. He must have a lot of promises of what's going to happen if we stay up. He must have been promised a lot to stay. And I just hope that this time, whereas we took Conte on and we gave him an 18-month contract and we never backed him, now is the time. We've got a manager that knows what he's doing. We've got a manager that hopefully will take us on. This is the time now that these owners and this board have to step up. They have to back him to take us to the next level, because another season of this shit, the club will be gone.
Guys, one more thing to consider here is the small matter of work permits.
Oh, don't start that one again.
No, I'm serious, man. They couldn't even get.
People call me negative, Hugo, and you go chuck bombshells like that.
No, but I'm just saying, trust me when I tell you.
That geezer, that number two, that Tudor's number 2 got paid a fucking fortune for doing absolutely.
They couldn't get him in the door.
Amazing.
I'm just saying, trust me, I think this, in the grand scheme of everything, who we could have gotten in, and if the clause is indeed non-existent, this is the best case scenario for Tottenham Hotspur at this time, I believe, for whatever that's worth. I'm just saying, if they couldn't get in Tudor's number 2 last time for whatever reason, they're going to need to get, they sure as shit better be sure that the work permits get issued this time.
I think the fact that you've got a manager that's managed in this country before, I don't see that there would be that sort of problem.
No, I mean not necessarily him, but for example, for Nesta, and
I think you're talking about people that probably will get that permit. I think it's a little bit different. But look, it's time to try. Now he's in, and circumstances and the info is changing slightly as to the conditions of him coming in. Now's the time to be positive, and we get behind him. And this board have got, the owners and board. Look, we always go on about history and this. We never back managers like we should do, but this is the time. It's got to change now. This is the time. It's got to change. And where Sean says, let's go down fighting. I think that now changes because, if he hasn't got a relegation clause in, then hopefully, these players do get behind him.
Yeah, listen, I agree. I agree. Listen, I'm up for this one. I'm up for this one. Those people, again, pay attention, guys. Of the 800 people that are still here, pay attention to your content creators. Always consider the motivations of the messenger. If there's no one that's on board it's fine if you've seen them be positive about other things, but if they are not, are they just doing it because they know that the inevitable is a shit show, or the most likely outcome is a shit show, and they don't want to face the heat for having a backing or something? I'm on board. I think there's loads of cons on this one. I think there's a fuck ton of cons. There's several pros as well. If we can get through this next few months, then this guy, if it will end in chaos, and so I know exactly what's going to happen. There's certain people that are going to be like, no, it's a fucking disgrace. They don't give you solutions, they give you answers. Or if they do give you solutions, the solutions are ENIC out, which again they have no control over, and neither do any of us. But in the short term, pay attention to the motivations of the messenger on this one, because it's going to be fascinating. Dan Bowers, big up to you, Dan, says, Sean, can you help Danny Boy get his Instagram back? Bring back the brass father. Big up the panel on the show. I'm a big fan of watching Danny Boy's content on Instagram. He is someone that is hilarious to watch. I can't help him, no. But I am going to Thailand in September. I am going in that direction. I booked my flight September the 7th. I'm out of here for a few weeks. So if he's still there, then maybe you'll see some collaboration if I bump into him. But the guy's a fucking wild lunatic.
You've got a stockpile of penicillin.
Does that even work anymore against the 2026 versions of STDs? I don't know. I'm not even sure. Big up to you, Dan Bowers. Thank you very much. Ledley's knee says, suddenly Poch is talking about a new USA contract. Yeah, we spoke about that. I think that I feel a little bit sorry for Poch. I think he's the guy. He's the guy that wants to come home. He's the sort of the ex that he wants to make amends, but his bird doesn't seem to want to, even though maybe it would be in her best interest as well. I don't know, but yeah, I feel a little bit sorry for him. It's interesting that's the case. And Stu Green says Paratici to return solo. Maybe wasn't De Zerbi his first choice instead of Frank? It was, Stuart Green. It was. Wouldn't that be an interesting story? Wouldn't that be a fascinating update if Johan Lang left and Vinay was got rid of, and they brought in a new CEO, and then Paratici made his
that just can't be right, Sean, because do you remember that there was an very thorough process conducted? Do you remember? Out of all of the 50-something people that they'd considered,
they landed on certain other
Thomas
people.
Frank was the very top of the list as the outstanding candidate.
Did you see
Johan Lang and Vinay's outstanding candidate?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Have you seen the video of how they chose him though? It was just a wheel with 50 names on, and they spun it, and it landed on Thomas Frank. And
they spun it extensively. They just did. They did this for a long fucking time.
Yeah. It's like the roulette wheel, and there was a magnet behind Thomas Frank.
Yeah, they had names written on a board, and then they were blindfolded and throwing
darts at it. Yeah, 100%. Ronald Cooper, big up to you, my man. Every single time I see your name, Ronald Cooper, I look at your picture with you and your son and the EasyJet thing in the background and the joy on your two's face. You're about to go on your holly pops. I don't know when that picture was taken, but I hope your holiday was fantastic. And it always puts a good vibe in me. Big up to you, Ronald. Thank you very much. Choo to you for the super chat. Guys, we're going to round it off. Sava's live, so I'll send you over there. Big up to all of you. Hugo, thanks for joining me for the entire stream, mate. You spent 4 hours with me, man. I appreciate you.
Jeez, is it really? Oh,
nearly 4 hours. And Soren, thank you so much as well for jumping on. Thank you to Hayden. Thank you to Rain. Thank you to Kate. And I don't think there was anybody else. Was there anybody else? I don't think so.
Hey, Rain.
Yeah, Rain, Hayden, Kate, you two, and me. I think that was it. Big up to all of you. Appreciate you all. Smash Spurs Talk Show Raid or whatever into the thing. And I'll
smash
see
the like.
Smash like, subscribe, and hype, and hype the video, people. See you later on. I'll be back later on for an update, whether a video or a live stream. You'll see me later on tonight. Appreciate you all. Take care, as always. Bye-bye.